bankrupt in 2 days if it's a bad stock. You see some of these stocks go like a rug pull and they don't exist anymore. So how can someone make sure they're picking the right stocks to go along with the 4% rule?
Well, I think diversification is the key. Invest in funds, broadly diversified across markets, across countries, across industries. Good high-quality funds. There are plenty of those. Most of them are index funds at very low cost so that they are easy to swallow. You're not dealing with friction, commissions, and so forth. So it can be done. People today are very fortunate to have this available to them.
Now, when we hear about different rules of withdrawal that you can make sure to have a successful retirement, Susie Orman's saying 3%. I've even heard someone say, Dave Ramsey says 8%. What are your opinion on those or that range? What do you think about that?
Well, I haven't sat down with either of them to discuss the basis of their feelings, but just looking at my own data, I use historical data. I basically reconstruct the portfolios of investors retiring in 1926 to date. I had seen nothing in history that indicates anything less than 4.7%, which is the new number, my updated number. And to get below that, we would have to have something like in the 60s and 70s again. If you remember, we just had terrible bear markets followed by years of high inflation. And I don't see that on the horizon yet, at least.
What's your opinion on the S&P 500? Is that a good, I know Vanguard has a really good one. VOO is a symbol. That's a pretty nice S&P 500 fund. What do you think about that one as far as being included in that portfolio to get this 4.7 you're talking about?
It probably makes sense to do that over the long term, although on the short term you're going to have to be careful because stocks are very highly valued and very concentrated in a few names, so that not always doesn't end well.
Now, you said you've been quoted that the 4% rule was never meant to be a law, more of a process. How should people use it today without locking themselves into a rigid number, I guess we say?
Yeah, I've identified in my book what I call 8 elements, which are basically assumptions that you can use to personalize your withdrawal plan. They include things like the planning horizon, how long you're planning to withdraw money, what type of account, taxable, non-taxable, do you plan to leave a balance at the end of the account for your heirs, and so on. There are those 8 factors. You get values for each of those, and then you can next step is take a look at stock market valuation and inflation. And using those 2 factors, I've got tables set up so people can just look up their number.
Nice. Now, folks, we're talking to Bill Bengen, and he is the founder of the 4% rule. And Bill, for retirees worried about inflation today, what's the best way to protect their spending power long term?
Well, that's a real concern. I always say that inflation is the greatest enemy of retirees. I think in the bond portfolio, they could use tips, significant exposure to tips. And I think also they want to invest in top quality companies that go through a rough period of time of inflation and come out okay. They've got pricing power.
This is more of a psychological question than a financial question, but do you think retirees today are more likely to run out of money or leave too much unspent out of fear?
The biggest problem I'm aware of is not spending enough. A lot of folks think that they can just spend off their interest and the dividends and live off that. That really constrains you tremendously. You have a much richer lifestyle. I imagine the heirs must be very pleased with that because that means they're going to get a lot of money. But that don't help the retiree much.
Bill, I had a client about 20 years ago, and I said, John, you're not spending much money. You've got all this money. He had millions of dollars. I said, you need to start spending it, having some fun because you're retired. And he said, that's a good point, Coach, because my friend, he had a friend who said if he doesn't spend it, his kids will go first class and spend all his money. So he still hadn't got that. He was still afraid to spend it, but his friend was putting pressure on him to start spending it because he said if you don't spend it, your kids will.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about what you were saying right there. What's the biggest misconception about your rule, and what do you like to clear up now, once and for all, that we're on the air? What do you think that people just don't understand about the 4% rule?
I think a lot of people think 4% or 4.7%, as I now phrase it, means that you take out 4.7% of your portfolio value every year, and that's not the system that the rule is based on. It's based on more like a Social Security system, where the first year you use your percentage. If it's 4.7%, you have $1 million. In an IRA, you take out $47,000. After the first year, you throw away that 4.7%, and just simply give yourself a cost of living adjustment like Social Security.
So you increase it a little bit every year, over and above that what it was. Okay, and even in a down market.
Yes, my methods are designed to get you through bear markets. I mean, one thing about bear markets, we know that they're nasty and they can reduce your withdrawal rate, but they don't last forever. They'll get us a recovery and you'll come back. So it shouldn't be too impatient when that happens.
Now, tell us about A Richer Retirement, a book you wrote, and what can readers expect, and how can they learn more about your latest research as well?
Sure. Well, my book is basically designed like a cookbook where people can go to it and find recipes for a way to construct a withdrawal plan during retirement using 10 basic fundamentals. And then my website, bengenfs.com, I have developing a whole library of scenarios that people can look up something that's close to their own situation in terms of the 8 elements, then possibly use that as a template for their own retirement plan.
You know, a lot of times I'll sit down with a couple, and one of the two in this couple will be very risk adverse, and the other one will be a very big risk taker. How do you deal with a couple like that?
Unfortunately, I don't have to deal with it anymore. I've been retired.
Back in the day, how'd you do that? How'd you deal with people?
It was tough to reconcile. Yeah. You had to try and sit with them and sort out some of these financial issues. Some people are just very fearful of certain things. It's irrational, and there's not much can be done. Just reach a compromise if you can.
Now, finally, I want to wrap it up on a subject that a lot of people have heard about, because critics have said that 4% rule is obsolete after the 2021 to 2023 inflation shock. Is that fair, or is that fear-mongering that they're saying that?
No, it seems to have survived it okay. Now, of course, that's only a few years ago. We don't know what will happen over the next 10 to 15 years, which will have a lot to say about what happens to people retired back then. But right now, they're starting out okay. They got hit with a bear market, but then they got a huge recovery, after that. So they're back in clover, I think.
We've been very, very lucky, haven't we, with these V-shaped recoveries we've had in the last 20 years?
Yeah, that's right.
Look at Japan. I mean, it took them forever to recover or get back on the right track, and that's the only thing that worries me, Bill. And I think that these days, though, I think the average investor is a lot more astute than they have been in the past. I think that's why they may help the recovery more than the stock companies themselves help the recovery, because people they have the fear of missing out. So when the stock goes down, they jump in and buy many times. And
that's using the correct strategy. Whether it is today, I'm not so sure. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that.
Back in the day, they say, trying to buy a falling stock was like trying to catch a falling knife. Yeah. And that is true on some of these penny stocks that go down. But for the traditional S&P 500 companies, that doesn't really apply these days, does it? I mean, it is good to buy low and sell high.
Yeah, I think if you're investing in a broadly diversified fund, you're protected against individual business risk. And you should just be fine over the long term.
Well, folks, his name is Bill Bengen, and his book is Richer Retirement, and he is the inventor of the 4% rule. Bill, thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Pete. Appreciate it.
And, folks, we'll be right back after this.
What are your thoughts around long-term care?
I really like the concept. I've never liked the policies.
Yeah.
The policies haven't been good. I've been licensed to offer long-term care for over 30 years, and I've never offered a single standalone long-term care policy. Now, I have offered a lot of these new life insurance policies because they have the long-term care. They've got, well, let's say you don't need the long-term care. It turns into a tax-free death benefit.
Right.
Let's say you need income in retirement. If we set up right, you can get a tax-free retirement income from it. Life insurance is really the Swiss Army knife in the financial world.
Yeah, I think more people will be going towards a life insurance way because I own the traditional long-term care, and it's a great product. So I'm going to get benefits. I got a good one before, but the premiums have gone up.
Right.
Now we've been told they're not going to go up anymore.
That's what they always say.
I hope that's true. But the nice thing about the life insurance is that you've got this bucket of money. And if you need it, it's there. If you don't need it, you can take it back out as an emergency fund. Or if you don't need it and you die, it goes tax-free to your kids. So it's a 3-in-1 type solution. I think that's going to fit a lot more people. But even people who are already can't buy that policy, they can't buy because they have medical problems, they have health, they can still get an annuity with a long-term care rider.
Yeah, that too. I mean, so you can always, there's always a way. Yeah, you can't take the first rejection and say, well, life stinks, I guess I'm going to have to be where I'm at. No, there's always alternatives, Tom. And so that's what we've specialized in the last 30 years, is finding the alternatives to get you where you need to be.
And that's why I think it's so important to work with a financial professional.
Hey guys, it's Parker Holland here, Chief Wealth Strategist at Capital Financial Advisory Group. We do a lot of case studies on the radio. You've seen us talk about it on our video series and TV shows, but we like doing real world examples. So we have a lot of people ask us, can you run the numbers for us? And they're even comfortable with us using them here on the board for you. This is a real study from a radio listener that came in, and we're not looking at the comprehensive plan here where we go tax, healthcare, Medicare, Social Security. We're looking solely at the income off their investments, because that's what we all save for. Bills and taxes never stop, but paychecks do. Like Coach Pete says, you got to replicate the income. So here's a real world example for a radio listener. They're currently 57 and 55. Husband and wife, spouse, doesn't matter what you're looking at. There's normally always an age difference most of the time, but they're looking at retiring in 7 years. So what we're looking at here, this will be age 62, and then of course with layover, overlap, this is going to be closer to 64. Now, they had about 1.4 million in retirement savings. Now, Wall Street is going to recommend that you take the younger spouse's age, subtract it from 100, and that's the risk versus safety. Unless they're more conservative, it can flip. Now, in this scenario, we don't run off a risk tolerance. Our plans and strategies are focused on income and standard of living. We want to make sure we're able to maintain the income they need. When we ran the numbers based on what they have and we backsourced it, that put us at around $560,000 for their plan, and that's what I'm going to use here in this example. $560,000 with an A+ rated company. That's going to be a worst case scenario for our clients. So that means that no matter what the market does, they put in 560, we know it stays 560. What we're doing is, instead of holding an IRA or a retirement account with a custodian broker like Fidelity or Vanguard, we use insurers like Nationwide, North American, Athene, Allianz, A+ rated, and they all incorporate strategies and incentives, whether it's bonus percentages, dollar values. Well, here we're just talking about income. We're not focused on what the accounts are doing for bonus or incentive. We're focusing on what they generate. So worst case scenario, we want to know, no matter what the market does, what does that 560 get us? Targeting a 7-year window. Now, age of death, we normally do spreadsheets and 30-year models, but in this scenario, let's go a little farther because people are living longer. Let's go to age 97. That income received, worst case scenario, is going to be $60,000 a year. Now, that's off of the $560,000 number. This is assuming 0% returns, which means by age 97, there'll be no money left, but they're still getting the income. The spouse is, no matter who outlives who, or if they die at the same time, that standard of living is going to be met. We're not counting outside accounts. We're not counting Social Security. We're solely looking at that 560 alone. Now, we know we got bigger issues if the market does 0% every single day. So let's look at actual performance. 7 to 15% over the same life expectancy. We're not looking at a set rate of return here. This is where most calculators get in trouble. They run a fixed 7, 9, 10% number. The market doesn't do that every single year. The market fluctuates. It has years of -20, +20, 7, 15, 55. Let's just say it stayed between the historic averages over the next 40 years. That means that the income, instead of starting at 60,000, would start closer to 70,000. 57, 55, wait 7 years, what's it do? Well, that income is going to continue to grow every single year as well to 160,000 plus. That's inflation protection. But the goal is to live off the icing without touching the cake. What does this number grow to? Well, as I just mentioned, we're taking income, but our goal is to not drain principal. That's going to be over 3.7 million left for their heirs in that same period of time. These strategies are targeting growth, income, consistency without picking growth or safety. We're eliminating the focus in the standard norm and focusing on income yield so that the outside accounts, Social Security, everything else is icing on the cake. If you want your own plan or strategy, or you want to see what your numbers do, give us a call, shoot us a text, go to our website and just poke us and let us know what you're looking for, and we'll give you your own exact numbers.
Invest in these meme coins unless you have a strategy to get in and get out real quick. Don't sit around when it goes up a little bit with your calculator saying, well, if it goes up to this amount, I'm going to be a multi-trillionaire.
Yes.
Of course, it's never going to get there and you're going to lose all your money. So if you've doubled your initial investment, sell half of what you put in, and now you're playing with the bookies money, we call it, because you've got all the money you invested back.
There you go.
Well, a whole lot easier to hold something long-term, Bruce, when it's not really costing you.
One of the big risks in retirement is sequence of returns risk.
Oh, yeah.
Americans do not understand that risk. So kind of, how do you explain it?
Well, basically, the day you retire is a very big day, and it can become a gigantic day if the market starts to go down that day. So now you're starting to take money out of your retirement. This is if you don't have a real plan put in place. A lot of you're trying to manage yourself. You're just going to take money out of the stock market accounts you have, and you're going to supposedly you have that 92% chance of being okay. But the market keeps going down. You keep taking money out as it goes down. The beauty of the stock market, if you have the time horizon on your side, is if a stock goes down and you really believe in it, you don't have to liquidate it. You hold it till it comes back up. If all that money in the stock market is money you need for retirement, you're going to have to start liquidating that money because you need it. So that's why we say keep that stock market money alone, build a force field around it with annuities. So have annuities give you the income of retirement and leave your stocks alone. Therefore, the stock market can do its thing. Stock market doesn't go up all the time. Doesn't go down all the time. But over time, it goes up if you have that time to leave it alone. Usually people buy high and sell low. That's what happens. But if you're selling low because you have to, because you need that income, you're not in the right place. You don't have a true retirement plan.
Yeah, and what's even worse is the more the market goes down, the more you have to sell.
Yes.
Because your shares are worth less and less, so you got to sell more and more to get that in.
So you're locking in your losses.
And so people who retire into a down market, if they don't have a plan like you're talking about, they're just taking money out of the market, they have a very high risk of totally running out of money.
Yeah. And
Versus somebody who retires into a bull market, they can take money out. They have a very high chance of success. It's just we don't know what's going to happen on the day we retire. So I call it good luck or bad luck. And I don't want to subject my retirement to
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend, Coach Pete, and I am so excited to see you. We've really dived in 2025, looked at the good, the bad, and the ugly about my finances, and I mean, it was tough, I'm not going to lie, but now that we've gotten it going, I'm ready to start investing some money.
We started, you said, Coach, I want to get my finances back under control or under control for once or whatever you said.
Coach, I'm in debt. I'm in debt. We bought a house. We bought furniture. We bought all the stuff to go in the house. We bought new curtains and glasses and dishware. How am I going to start investing if I'm in debt?
So we put a plan together. And what did we do in January?
So in January, we started buying the debt down.
Yep.
And really started
Buying the
working
debt
on
down.
like the smallest ones and really paying those off. And I have thrown like every extra penny that I could possibly throw at it.
You took the highest interest rates. That's what we identified. Those are the big termites, the financial termites, high interest rates. Doesn't matter what the balance is.
Yeah. Well, and I had some furniture and stuff that was 0%. So I said, I'm going to wait, we'll get that last because it's 0%.
Don't wait to the last minute on that, though, because if you don't pay it on time, they're going to go back and charge you interest on from day one. And zonk you and put fees on there. So you need to pay that. And don't wait till like the day before. Make sure you pay that off like 30 days before they say that if you don't pay it, they're going to get you. Okay?
Financial termites.
Yes.
That's why you got to get a copy of his book. And I think for me, the next question is, what do I need to be focused on with, investing? Do I need to get into crypto? I'm trying to maximize Jackson's college savings account and then my Roth IRA. And it's a lot. Like honestly, it's hard for me to manage the day-to-day.
Instead of jumping right into crypto, like getting your own Coinbase account, some of the brokerages like Fidelity and stuff have their own Bitcoin account. So they're investing in Bitcoin for you, so you don't have to go through all that. You just invest in their ETF, it's called, like a mutual fund. And IBIT is one of the ones you get in that you can own crypto without having to go through all that crypto game. IBIT is a symbol. It's doing pretty well since it's come out. So
Yeah.
look at that.
Okay.
You shouldn't despair. You've done a good job of paying some of that debt off, getting that high interest rate out of the way. We've already talked today. We had a great conversation because now you realize that if you owe even 1 penny on that zero financing for 36 months, they're going to go back and get you interest for every single dollar they loaned you. And I explained some of this in my book here, the big book on retirement. I go in further detail in the second book I ever wrote. I've written 19 now, but the second book I wrote was the fine print fiasco, what they don't want you to know when you buy, borrow, and invest. And so if you call now, if you're watching this and you want to get a copy of both of these books, we'll send them to you at no cost or obligation. All you have to do is call the number you see on the screen. Or let's give the number out right now.
Yes, 919-794-7900 or text Amanda to 600-700.
Now, let's talk taxes for a minute, because taxes right now are historically low. What should people be doing about their tax situation in retirement?
Just came out with a book this year. It's over 250 pages called Tax Savvy Retirement. And so who cares how much you have if it's going to get killed by the tax man? If you have a big piece of cheese, it turns into Swiss cheese really quick before you even see it. So we need to make sure there's ways that we can isolate some money from the tax man. There's some special tax balancing we could do. If you have a big gain and a loss, we'll sell the loss and sell the gain and come with that, take that money and now you have a tax-free basically. So there are a lot of tax strategies out there that are overlooked, underutilized, and should be used all the time to put people in control of their retirement.
Let's dig a little deeper into that, because Roths play a big role in that.
Love the Roth.
And cash value life insurance can play a big role. So talk about some of the ways that you can get people tax-free income.
Yeah, well, the Roth is a good one, but the problem is the more money you make, the less you can qualify for it. So what I found, I call it Roth times 2, is the life insurance industry. Yeah. And matter of fact, if you haven't had your life insurance policy, if you have one, if you haven't had it analyzed in the last 5 years, you need to, because some of the life insurance companies, matter of fact, the biggest ones, the A-rated ones and above, have come up with something called a living benefit rider on your life insurance accounts. If you have a new policy, you may have that. If you don't, you really need to get it looked at, and you need one, because what this lets you do, Tom, lets you take your death benefit out while you're still here to pay for long-term care. So there's no need for a long-term care policy anymore if you have a life insurance policy. And the beautiful thing about a permanent life insurance policy is once you qualify, they can never kick you out. They can never raise your rates. You can even pay your policy off. So you could be sitting on an asset you don't even know. If you have a life insurance policy right now that doesn't have this, you're costing yourself a lot of money.
Yeah. You know, I've moved more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. My premium was $226,000 a year on a 12-pay life policy, but all that money and more is sitting in there that I can take out tax-free. And what a lot of people don't realize is much of the money in annuities and life insurance is creditor protected, so they can't sue that. I'm from the state of Arizona. It's 100% creditor protected. That matters to business owners.
That's gigantic. That's huge. I mean, who wants to work all your life to build something only to be sued away with it? I mean, if people can attack you these days when they see that big, fat, juicy wallet you have, you're going to be a big target.
Here we are again, Chapter 5 of the Big Book on Retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here alongside the author himself, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Here we are developing spending discipline. And I want, each of your chapters here, Coach, you start off with a quote. I wanted to bring this one up. It says, "It's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits."
Yeah, and this is budgeting.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't like to call it a budget. I like to call it a spending plan. Yeah. So let's write down, how do you figure out how much you're spending now? Well, you can look at your credit cards and your checkbook and see all the stuff added up. Or you can write everything down when you spend. That gets kind of tedious. Keep the receipts, scan them in your computer, that kind of thing. But then you come up with rough estimates about how much it's costing you to enjoy your lifestyle now. This is when you're working. And so that when you retire, we can have a judgment about what you're going to spend in retirement. So if you like to go out to eat on the weekends, you're probably going to start going out to eat more on weekdays when you're retired, because every day's a weekend. So we need to factor that in.
That's good.
And the whole reason why we save and put money, our money gets taken hostage by the 401k or 403bs or TSPs, because you give it, you can't get it back out. It's hostage. So we have a hostage situation. And we reach retirement, it's time to start rescuing those hostages. They start getting free. That's money coming back to you. And then you say, well, gosh, we should have put more hostages away, right? So the more money you can put away now, the more you're going to have later. Yes. But it's just the thing is, we figure out how much it really costs you to enjoy your lifestyle, not just get by.
Yeah.
Anyone can sit home and watch reruns all day long, but You got to have some excitement in your mind. I always encourage people to keep a brokerage account, maybe $50,000 to $100,000 in there that you're trading. And so you're doing research every day. You're looking forward to the earnings report. There's always something you're looking forward to. What I've seen in life, if you stop looking forward to stuff, you're going to quickly dwindle down to nothing. So we always have to have something we're looking forward to.
Absolutely. And, you know, I love this chapter too, because speaking of developing spending discipline, it's not just the big main spending plan that you develop. It's funny because it reminds me of mitigating taxes in retirement and so many other things. You're building small things. Like your book, The Fine Print Fiasco, is what I'm thinking of right now. One of your early books. So this is one of your latest.
The second book I ever wrote.
Second book you ever wrote. But it discussed those core aspects of focus on little things here, here, and here, and they all build up into something rather, you know, something you could be proud of.
Well, mountains didn't get built overnight. You know, it takes, like when you build sandcastles, it took a bunch of buckets of sand to get a big castle. But I mean, without that first bucket, you didn't have a chance of the castle. And so the better the foundation, the more secure it was too. Take the same approach in the financial world. Firm foundation, lifetime income, put you in control, minimize or eliminate fees, commissions, expenses, and too much risk. And as we get into retirement, we want to be in control of our money, not our money controlling us. And we help people with that every single day. Approach retirement on your terms. We can help you. Thomas, the numbers are on the screen there. You can see that. The book will help you get your arms around it, and we can help you put that plan together. No cost or obligation, by the way, if you're seeing this video. Just give us a call. We can meet with you and help you get started to that really good retirement you deserve.
There you go. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense, folks. Go ahead and call right now. Don't put yourself in the way of yourself having an absolutely amazing retirement. Whether it's just getting that second opinion or you really don't know what's going on in your plans, you're just nervous about what's going on in the market either today, yesterday, or 5 years ago.
Well, there's no better time but the present to get it done, right? We can always put things off, but let's get ahead of the curve. Let's do the smart thing. If you do it once, you never have to do it again, too, by the way.
There you go.
Once you get that plan put together, it's autopilot, folks. Let's put you in that retirement autopilot.
I love it. Get that confidence, folks. Call Coach Pete and his fiduciary team. As he said, the number's there on the screen, and we will see you for Chapter 6.
Hey, I'm Coach Pete D'Arruda, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there.
Everybody's putting their money in 401ks, but long term, that can be a problem.
Well, a lot of them are orphan 401ks. What that means is you work for a company. People don't work for a company 30 or 40 years these days. They work for a company for 4 or 5 days, sometimes, or 4 or 5 years, and then to go to a different company. So they leave their 401ks behind. So we call this splintering or orphaning. So what we've done is we open up a super IRA, and we roll all the different 401ks in there. Now you have them all in one place. And they're a lot better investment options when you have the own personal IRA than the 401ks. 401ks usually give you maybe 10 to 30 different options. Whereas your own super IRA, you can have 5,000 or more different options. So you have a lot more choices. You can even build guaranteed lifetime income into your IRA that way. You can't do that in 401ks.
Absolutely. And you know, another way to play the crypto is you don't have to actually do the coin thing. There's ETFs now where you get full exposure to it without all the hassle of.
That's the best way to do it for the average American who doesn't want to worry about it, because Fidelity has one, BlackRock has one, IBIT is a good one. There's some other good ones. There's even ones for Ripple and Ethereum if you don't want just Bitcoin. There's ones that have a collection, like a basket of them. So check with your financial advisor or do your own research. I think a lot of financial advisors may try to shoot you down again because they are maintaining the hold of your money in their managed accounts. And if you leave them with money, it's going to be less money they can manage, less money they can charge you on.
Well, and let's be clear where I stand on it. I'm not saying put all your money anywhere. I say 1 to 3%. Some people say 5, some people say more. I'd say no more than 5 as somebody who's
just like physical silver and gold.
Just a small amount, because the performance can be so high, it can help the entire portfolio.
And again, if you just put a little bit in there, if it does go away, you didn't lose the fortune.
Right. And now there's even a Bitcoin short. So if you don't believe in Bitcoin, you can buy something that if it goes to zero, you're like your million headed out to zero. So, and just so you know, once Bitcoin went up, what is my risk? My risk is that it goes back down. And so I bought some of the short just to hedge against it going down. I hope it goes to zero, but I mean, I hope the hedge goes to zero. But if Bitcoin goes to zero, I'll make.
So you're protected on both sides.
protected on both sides.
Yeah, that's when once you start winning the game, you win the game, and you're winning Monopoly, right? You have Park Place and Boardwalk right now. You can build all the houses you want.
Right.
Hey, it's Amanda, and I'm back again with my friend Coach Pete. Coach, everybody I know has a side hustle. The biggest thing for me is, why are we not treating the side hustle like our retirement? We need to be throwing money into our retirement. We're working harder to try to make that extra income, and we're just spending all of it. We're not even putting it in our retirement. Why?
If you have a side hustle, like a second job,
Yeah.
every single penny of that should go to a place that's going to benefit you and your family in the future. And the best way to do that is to put in what I call a time capsule account, which will grow and not shrink. So it'll grow according to, it'll share with the market, but won't go down when the market goes down.
When the money comes in, you put the money in your retirement account,
Yep.
and then you pay everything
Well,
else.
what's a retirement account? See, the confusion these days, and it's widely known that a real retirement account is going to give you lifetime income you can't outlive and can't go away. But yet Wall Street tells you they have a retirement account that'll give you this magic return. And you put the money in, and all of a sudden you start losing money. And you have fees. And all of a sudden the money's not there. So have a plan. And the plan needs to be a long-term plan, like your whole life. What do you want to do when you retire? Where do you want to go? How much is it going to cost? Let's put a plan together that will fund that for you so that when you get there, you don't have to ask permission. You know, when we were little, we had to ask permission. When we're older, we shouldn't have to ask permission. But if you don't have money, you're going to have to ask permission.
It's going to be
You're going to have to ask
hard.
the bank, can I please have some money so I can go on to a vacation? And the bank will say, when are you going to pay it back? You know, so again, it's all about having the plan that's designed ahead of time to put you in charge and in control of your retirement.
Daxon just turned 3. Can you believe that?
Happy birthday.
3, and I feel like it flies by.
It does.
Every single year.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. And you talked me into, setting up his account, and I did set up his 529.
529, yep.
But I need to get back on track with some other things. Now that, hey, school's back in. Year-round's already back in. Regular calendar's about to go back in. So how do we get back on track? How do we set this up?
Yeah, it's about having a routine and a positive routine, a routine that'll get you in control. It takes about a month to form a good routine. It takes about 1 day to form a bad one. So the good routines are putting money aside for retirement, making sure your money's going to be there, make sure it's growing now, and make sure you can have a lifetime income from your money and know what that income's going to be ahead of time. Now, that sounds like a lot of steps, but we do that for every single one of our clients, and I've done it for the last 33 years.
What do I need to do to have that backup college plan for Jackson?
Yeah, well, my daughter Carrie, I've had 2 529 plans for her over the years. So a North Carolina one and a Utah one, and she's using the Utah one. She's going to University of Alabama, and that's not a cheap place. So lucky for her daddy put some money aside. But there's more to life than the 529 plan. You could put money in your 401k plan and then borrow against it to fund your college education for your child if you wanted to. I don't really
Ooh.
recommend that. I think
Yeah.
you're better off doing the 529 plan, having something that's segmented and that's destined to go to education instead of saying, I want to rob my retirement so my child can go to school.
Recently we went on our bucket list trip to Montana, and I met this couple, and they told me that they travel in the country, and they were well into their 70s. And I'm like, how in the world do they afford to do that? And I thought
Right.
about it. They played their cards right. They
Yeah.
retired because they invested and they did it the right way.
You know, investing is one thing, but what I've seen a lot of successful folks lately, they have a tax plan. So that's why I just wrote the book, The Tax Savvy Retirement. Doesn't matter how much money you have if Uncle Sam's stealing it all. So let's design your retirement money in a way that you will benefit more than Uncle Sam will.
You are right here in Apex, North Carolina.
Yep.
This is where you're located, and you can come visit. I mean, literally, he's a North Carolina man.
You know, Amanda, I've noticed an alarming trend lately where a lot of advisors from other states are trying to use AI and use a lot of advertising to get people to do a Zoom meeting with them, and all of a sudden you're sending them a check to a different state. I would never do that. So we're local. Come see us. We have 27,000 square feet here in the Coach Pete land, we call it, at Apex. Come see us.
All right, Coach, what is the financial fill-up?
And there's the sounder. You remember when you're little, maybe you don't, some people do, being in the back seat. I remember being in the back seat of Mom's station wagon, and she'd go to get some gas. She'd pull in, and she'd hear. And then the guys would come running out. They'd check the oil, clean the windshield, and fill the car with gas.
Yay.
All for 49 cents a gallon.
Oh, I love that.
That was back in Wisconsin in 1974, right before the embargo and all that stuff that happened. Anyway, it's all about making sure that we have enough income, and that's why we started talking about a financial fill-up, because it has to be something that we can understand. And when you get to retirement, you understand the fact that your bank account magically fills back up every year. That's a financial fill-up.
Coach, tell me about this race car team that we're building.
Yeah, well, when you watch these races on TV, these are multi-million-dollar cars that are zooming around that track. Gigantic engines of the best of all technology. But what if you spent your whole life building a race team, and when it came to race day, you forgot to order tires for the car?
Oh, no.
That's what's happening to most people these days with these gigantic 401k balances, or these retirement fund balances. They see a big lump sum, but they don't know what kind of lifetime income they can get from that. That's the tires on the car. And without the tires, the car ain't going where? It ain't going nowhere.
I thought I couldn't handle my own retirement.
Yep.
I'm just going to be honest because I'm a woman. But the truth is that anybody can call you and anybody can sit down and say, here are my finances. I need to set them up. Let's go.
I see a lot of people that just want to get their arms around what's going on.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times one of the two spouses handles that by default. Many times it's a guy. I don't know why, but that's what happens. And so I think both spouses need to know what's going on in their retirement accounts especially, but every account. And you need to learn. Don't just ask your spouse. Learn why your spouse is selecting what they're selecting so that if your spouse isn't here, you can still go forward and not be intimidated. All right. So we spend a lot of time with folks like this, especially divorcees or whatever. So getting them right on the back on the track.
I need a concierge service. Do you handle that?
Oh yeah.
I got enough going on.
We have a private wealth division for $10 million and up too. But
Ooh.
what I spend my time most of the time on our second floor, which is for anyone who wants to get started with a plan, has a plan they're not sure of, had a plan with an advisor they don't really trust anymore, or losing money, whatever.
Yeah.
Or getting close to retirement and realizing your planner never put together for you a retirement plan. If you look at all your statements and you don't see here's what your monthly income will be in retirement forever, in other words, can't go away, you don't have a true retirement plan. And most of you listening don't. If you have a 401k, you don't have a retirement plan. You have a building instrument that's building money up for retirement, but it's not a retirement plan.
So, Coach, most people are just saving money.
Yep.
Building up, like you said, that instrument. They got that 401k, they're building up, but they're not seeing a growth on their statement every month that their money's not making money.
Yeah. Well, if you don't really have a true retirement lifetime income plan, in other words, getting income for life when you retire, not dependent on the stock market, it's almost like building a gigantic skyscraper, but not having any furniture in it. You're building, but you don't really have that income. The income is the only thing that's going to get you through retirement. Social Security, that's income retirement, but you have to have some more. So your 401k, we need to translate what kind of lifetime income you can get from that lump sum in that big skyscraper account you have called a 401k.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of income you can get from that. My grandparents were working. They would work for 30 or 40 years for a company. They'd retire. The company would start paying them a check. That was called a pension.
Yeah.
Well, they took pensions away a long time ago. They said they went the way of the dinosaur, probably about that time. So now it's up to you to design your own income plans with the money you've already put aside. So that 401k, that big skyscraper with no furniture, let's make sure it's furnished. And that's by designing an income plan on the money you've already put aside.
The years are flying by, and I always say this to you. You need a good lawyer, you need a good tax man, and you better have a good financial planner. And that's what we have with you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's all about looking at what my clients want. I'm serving my client, not the other way around. I wish Congress would realize that too. They're serving us, not the other way around.
Yes.
But we serve our clients, and we make sure our clients are protected and taken care of and have no worries as they approach retirement and go into retirement. We call that the financial red zone. So if you're in that financial red zone, which is 5 years out of retirement, I like to say age 52. Because I'm 59 now, and about 52, I started worrying about retirement. So I'm using the Coach Pete meter right here. And the Coach Pete meter says at 52 and above, you really need your own total retirement plan, which looks at what you have now and translates that to lifetime income for you and your family. So if you don't have that, you need it, call right now. We'll put one together for you, a total retirement plan at no cost or obligation.
Ready for questions and answers. This is fun. It's been women and money. If I say it too fast, I think women in money. But we're going to talk about some financial challenges that each of us have had. I have Miss Jana, Miss Amanda, I'm Jackie, and Coach Pete. Yay, Coach Pete.
Hello.
It's going well, don't you think? What a fun series.
A guy can't complain when he's surrounded by three beautiful women.
Aww. Flattery gets you everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Flattery gets you everywhere, and confidence in money gets you a long way. I think as I get older, I get a little bit more confident in it and kind of wrapping up like what we talked about. It's just the hard stuff is what I call it. These are the hard things that you have to face through the stages, and you just have to. You have to approach it. You have to hit it dead on, and handle it. And once you handle it, you check in with Coach Pete once a year to go over your plan, and then your plan is doing its job all by itself.
There's a phrase I use, and when you guys think about it, it'll make sense. Confidence with evidence.
Oh.
So my clients are confident because we have evidence.
Yeah.
The evidence is they have a total retirement plan. They've got their long-term care taken care of. They've got all their bills paid for. They've got their estate plan handled. That's confidence, and they have the evidence. So confidence with evidence. And once you get that into that level, you're fine. And you're bulletproof almost, emotionally at least. If we can make your money bulletproof, your emotions get bulletproof too.
Even better.
Sure.
Confidence
That's
with
cool.
evidence.
That
That takes care of Amanda's anxiety.
Yeah.
Yes, we can put we're going to work with you. We'll get you all set. We
I'm
got that
just-
wedding to plan now. We're not going
Yeah.
to get in the way. We'll let you spend what you need to spend. but
Yeah.
then after that, we got to roll our sleeves up.
Buckle down.
So you got to have some fun in life. If you never have fun, then what are you here? So you got to have some fun, have some goals, but just know. I'm glad that you feel a little guilty about spending too much money on the
I
wedding
do.
because that's
I
a
feel
good
terrible
mentality.
about
If you don't care and you're just getting the credit cards out, you're gonna have to answer to them down the road. So
Yeah, that's true.
but let's put a plan together. We'll be all right. You'll be okay.
Ladies, I was wondering if I could ask you both, do you feel some regret that you didn't know this stuff before you started working with Coach Pete a little bit?
I do. You know,
You're still young though.
I know, but where does
hard.
this leave me?
Yeah. I think it's hard because I grew up with friends who their parents had it figured out. Like I learned about a Roth IRA from a girlfriend of mine's dad when I was 18 years old. I'm
that's
like,
great.
what is a Roth? And then I started doing research and they were trying to tell me this. My parents didn't know anything about that. They were check to check, barely graduated, just working as hard as they could to keep a roof over our heads. So we didn't have those conversations at the dinner table when I was growing up. So I think the hard part was knowing like, oh gosh, at the time when I started my Roth, it was, I had to put $4,000 in a year and,
Fantastic.
and max it out. So it was like, that's a lot of money at that age. But, I just worked hard every month to divide it out and to max it out and said that was what I was going to do. But I think my regret is not sharing that information with other people coming up because you just don't know what you don't know. And you don't also know if they're going to receive it from somebody your age. Like,
That's
are they
so
going to
true.
listen to you? I
We're
don't
putting
know.
together a course now. It's going to be a bunch of different pieces, but it's
Yeah.
going to be grade school, middle school, high school,
Oh, love that.
college, and after college.
That's
Where
what
they're
great.
gonna be-
Benefited from that.
What to do financially. Even grade school. I mean, if you're in grade school and you learned about a Roth or a dividend reinvestment program, you
Yeah.
get your. When I had a paper out when I was 10, I wish somebody had told me about
Same.
a Roth. I've been putting some money away
There you
instead
go.
of buying candy all the time.
Same.
But again, it's about knowing and knowing the right way to do things. And you're smart. You guys you're on the right track right now.
It's still tough though. I think
Yeah.
you're still always questioning, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And what do I need to be? I have a 13-year-old brother. My dad had a midlife crisis. That's another story for another
Wow.
time.
We went there.
But I try to explain to him, I'm like, write down on a sheet of paper everything that, you're spending or, he said the other day, like, I don't like the way we're living. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm like, so I made him write down like everything my dad spends. And I'm like, if you don't like your life now, like this is what you'd have to make every year to even be able to afford this lifestyle, then you better be a doctor,
Wow.
lawyer, or surgeon or something to be able to afford this. And I think that kids these days don't know where the money comes from, how the money gets spent, and just what it takes to live. And I think, so to wrap it up, and what I was trying to say is the regret I have is not being harder on being more of a friend than a coach to the younger people in my life.
Yeah, but we're going to make it easier with that series. We're going to
Let's
come out
go.
workbook series for
But
different
I feel
ages.
you on will they listen to you? I feel like even in broadcasting, in general and being in radio and having blonde hair, they never listen to me. They think,
Absolutely.
Well, I get the feeling people don't
Can
listen to me
confirm.
sometimes too on air.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our points are relevant and very important, and a lot of
Yeah.
people just ignore them, I guess, and think everything's going to be fine. Ignoring this problem is not going to make it go
No,
away,
right.
and financial problems get worse. Sort of like having cancer, it's going to get worse, not better, over your years.
Unless you take steps, yes.
Take a big step and address it and accomplish it and conquer it, and then put you in control.
I was the complete opposite of Amanda, and I still kind of am. I don't want to be bothered with the details. I really don't.
Just handle it.
I
have a lot of clients like that, Jana. They just want it done.
Yeah, I want it done, and I
Yep.
control so many different things in my life and my career. When it comes to this, I defer to the expert. I can't be an expert in everything, like you can't be in everything, but you are an expert in this.
I don't repair
And
my own cars anymore.
Yeah,
No.
and I trust you. And so I think that was, I wish I had done my research earlier, and
Yeah.
it wasn't to educate myself on where to put my money and what to do. My education earlier would have been find a partner.
Yeah. Well, that's right. It's somebody you could trust, a teammate.
Somebody you
Yeah,
could trust where I knew
Yes.
let's check in once a year or twice a year or whatever the thing is, because, you know, at different points in life, I wasn't working with that much.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been in sales forever, and I have huge years and I have okay years.
Right.
And I needed you many years ago to tell me on those huge years,
Where to put the money.
don't take quite so many trips.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had a lot of clothes.
But you have a lot of good
Yeah.
memories
Stupid
too.
stuff. I have
So
good
those are
memories.
priceless.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really, I can't be mad at you for
I
spending
know,
money
and
there.
I don't regret it, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine. I didn't start a 401k until I met my husband. His dad is a accountant and whatever, he's doing our taxes. He goes, "Wait, can you give me your 401k information?" I was like, "I don't have one." He goes, "Well, doesn't your company match?" Or I was like, "You know what? I'm not super sure, but let me look into that." And so I was 31 until I started a 401k.
Yeah, but at least you
okay.
started.
All right.
See, the
That's
secret
okay.
is to start. I don't care what age you are. It's to start. Start a 401k, start your retirement plan,
Yeah.
start your long-term care plan, start something today. Don't wait till next year, because next year might not come, and if it does, it might not be the best circumstances. So let's get things done now while the water's calm,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you guys, I want to know from each one of you the financial challenges you've had or faced over the years and how you overcome it.
Oh,
you
go ahead,
overcame it.
Janet.
So what about you? How did you overcome your financial? What were they and how did you overcome
You
it?
need a minute? I've got the worst one. Yours
ahead.
can't be worse than mine.
Go ahead.
It can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I
Mine, I
racked
mean.
up a horrific amount of credit card debt. And I was in my 20s, and I, like, you know, we already said, I'm living the high life here. And I was wearing the clothes and the shoes, and it was a fraud because it was all mounted on a credit card. And I didn't pay the balance when it came. I didn't even, I paid the minimum, and that accrued. I mean, it just racked up. And one day I remember opening the thing and I would have anxiety. And I looked at that number, and it was a 5-figure, and it was a big number.
It's like getting a report
And I
card in the
remember
mail.
thinking,
Yes.
oh my God, this is half of my income. What am I going to do? And it's, you know, I'm getting a chill because American Express basically called me and was like, "Do you have any scissors?"
Yeah, cut the card.
Cut it up. But that was my biggest
Wow.
wobble and embarrassment. And I didn't tell anybody because I was so mortified that I had let it get out of control that I didn't want to call Jackie and say, "Hey, I know you're smart about this stuff." I didn't want to admit it to anybody. I wanted it to die and go away.
What
Wow.
lesson did you learn from that?
Holy cow, if I can't afford to pay this credit card off this month, don't buy it.
Yeah,
if I couldn't
that's
pay it in
great.
cash, I can't pay it on a credit card.
Great lesson to learn. And I don't think you should extend a car loan any longer than 4 years, by the way.
I
People are
agree
doing
with
5,
that.
6, 7,
Yeah.
8 years.
Oh,
That's
72
crazy.
months.
So really, if you can't afford to pay cash for it, you really can't afford the car. But
Yeah.
my max loan's always been 3 years. 3 years, because
Yeah.
that's bad enough, right? But
Yeah.
you see some of the folks, they're on their 4th car after they started buying overpriced cars, and they would drive for 2 years and then trade it in for another car.
Roll that
so
negative
now that
equity.
4th car has a value, let's say, of $60,000. Yet their loan they owe is $80,000 because
Oh,
it's
boy.
all
So
the
you're
other
paying
bills on
all
the
the
cars on there. So
depreciation.
be very careful about toys. Toys can get you in a lot of trouble, especially expensive man toys, we call them, like
I was about
cars.
to say, they think
but
toys
women
are for
fall
the
for that
boys,
too.
but
Yeah.
But clothes for women, makeup,
it's
clothes,
true.
bags.
Shoes.
Yeah.
You know, we all, I have a daughter. I know. She's 20, so I know exactly what you guys are falling for. But, and it's, don't feel bad because Madison Avenue spends millions of dollars a day to get you to do the bad things you're doing.
No.
I was
So the
influenced.
secret is, my mom taught me this a long time ago. When we go in the store, we didn't have much money. She said, "Keep in mind, little Peter," you know, little Pete. She said, Petey, what she used to call me, Petey, is, you have the money, and the stores are trying to steal it from you. So she said
like
that.
that. She's smart.
And we go in the store, and I still remember that because your money goes a lot. Well, you ever broke a $100 bill before? How fast does
gone.
it disappear?
It is gone.
So money goes a lot fast. How
Once
long
it's
did it take
broke.
to get that $100 bill? A
Yes.
lot longer than it took to lose it, right? You go to McDonald's a couple times, the $100 bill's gone these days. So be very careful about how you spend it. But Janet, you learned your lesson. And
was
so
a hard
then
one,
when
yeah.
you got, so you probably your credit had to recover a little bit after you
You
paid the
bet it
bill off.
did.
Your credit score went down, but now you build your credit back up. And
Yep.
when you charge something now, what do?
Pay it off
Pay
as
it
soon,
off.
as soon as the bill
Pay
comes.
it off. See, I think it's
Get your points.
Wall Street Journal called me the credit card king in 2012. They wrote an article about me because I said I like to charge a lot, but I pay it off at the end of each month, and therefore your credit score gets higher and higher.
That's the tricky
and you get more
part.
rewards points. So
There
you
you
can be a
go.
credit card queen
Yeah.
by charging but paying off.
Yeah.
Charge it, pay it off. I remember the old Flintstones episode. Betty and Wilma got credit cards, and I remember them saying, "Charge it!" They run to the store, and then Fred and Barney kept getting the bills. So even back on the Flintstones, they were saying, "Don't charge on credit cards."
Oh, that's
All right.
great.
What about you, Jackie? What's the biggest financial challenge you've had? Or are we done with yours? Is there part 2 for you?
Yeah, I just feel nauseous, so let's move on. Let's
Is
move
there
on
a part
from
two?
our- No, there's not. I
Okay.
just
So, but you overcame that.
I did, and it hurt so badly that I can feel it all
Hurt
over
so
again.
good, we say.
And I vowed never to go back. So
Somebody
I
sung
know
a
what you
song
mean.
about that. Hurt
Yeah.
so good. All right, so Jackie,
Okay.
what was the biggest problem you had or financial challenge you had, and how did you overcome it?
Mine is the saddest story here, probably. But a man of God told me once, you're here on earth to learn lessons. So I've learned a lot of lessons.
At your own expense sometimes.
That's right. And I married a boy toy a little bit. He was 7.5 years younger, and he did not have very good responsibility around money. The one thing he did teach me, which was good, is that we bought a business.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
I
kind
know.
of business did you have?
Bicycle shop.
Oh. Did you sell new ones or did you service old ones?
Oh, all new, you know, the people
The
who were
real fancy- those
retired.
fancy bikes?
bikes, yes, and it was a great
Spent
business.
a lot of money on a bike.
Yeah.
these days.
And all that stuff. But he liked to trade some of the bicycles for other things, and there was a little bit of
Nose candy stuff?
I don't know if it was that or he just wanted to get a new car, and then the mechanic, right? And the
So he's doing a
mechanic,
barter
He's
system.
bartering.
Yeah, bartering.
it's called embezzlement, I believe.
Embezzle borrow.
Oh, gosh.
Embezzle barter.
That's right. I just wish I would have known these things and had,
Right.
the separate and had a, you know what I mean? I
Yes.
wish I would have had a partner
how did
too.
you discover-
It's embarrassing to tell someone, parents-in-law, your own family,
Yeah.
whatever, that you've gone through this great misstep.
How'd you
Right.
discover that he was doing this stuff?
And I told you the saddest story on here today. Upon his death at 39 years old,
Oh gosh, that's
Gosh.
so young.
7 days away from being 40.
How'd he pass away?
He took too many of those funny pills that the doctor gave you, the oxycodone. Remember during the oxy time when
Gosh.
Michael Jackson and the
How'd
oxy?
you meet him?
I met him. He was a ski patrolman.
Were you out there skiing? Were you a ski bunny?
Can we make this a whole separate episode? I feel like this needs to be.
insane.
I told you it was going to be the worst story.
Where were you skiing out in the mountains
in
somewhere?
Vail.
Oh, Vail.
Yeah, I worked for a broadcast network, and they allowed me to work in Vail. So
You know what just stuck out to me though is you used the same word I did, that you were so embarrassed. You didn't want anybody to know that you
It's-
had financial
and
issues.
We need to get past that because if other people hear the story, they won't do the same thing usually, right?
yeah, but that was a different era. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This information just wasn't available to me. I wish I
Yeah.
would have. And some of the things that you talk about, this lifetime income and all that, those savings vehicles and distribution vehicles are new and have really neato tires and
they're
great
great.
bells on the bicycle and ding dong. It's just some bells and whistles that.
Financial products
Yeah.
get better every year, just like new cars do. Like the 2020 cars, not as good as the 20. Well, Jana, the 2025 cars are full of those bells and whistles these days, aren't they? So the financial products are better and better these days too. So if
Right.
you have an older product, 4 years or even 3 years or older, it's time for review because there might be some better ones out there. Plus, a lot of them I've seen lately have a lot of financial termites hidden in there. Those are unnecessary fees, risk, and commissions that are embedded into your plan that you can't see. We can see that. So
Done so many things. Sang at the bars in Nashville.
I love the Nashville bar scene.
Yeah,
It's fun. They
they're-
like different bands everywhere. It's cool.
Real
Yeah.
estate, wholesale. I've worked everywhere. And I just never had, I always was so scared of the backlash or the getting fired. I can remember the anxiety of just like going in and just having the gumption to go in and say, you know what? That raise is going to pay for my retirement. That raise is going to pay for the things that I want to invest in. And I just always thought I couldn't do it. And I finally I just did it. I just started going and saying no. So I don't have that regret. Get what you're owed, y'all, so you can invest that money.
I would say to know your worth. How's
Yeah,
that?
know your worth.
Yes.
Know your worth because you're worth a lot of money at the place you're at now.
Well, and everybody is,
Yeah,
and I think that if you have experience, life experience is enough. You know,
Yeah.
I hear some women say to me all the time, "Well, I've only been at this job 5 years," but I'm like, "But wait a minute. Overall, how long have you been in? You've been
In
working
this field,
You're
right.
40 or you're 50. Get what you're worth. Don't
Yeah.
let them hit you down on that, and then use that money to invest.
Save it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Put a plan together because then you can retire sooner too if you want to.
Absolutely.
You can either retire sooner or keep working and build up even more money. So that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Should I retire
Yes.
now and have a great retirement, or should I work longer and even have an even better retirement? So that's a good decision, A or B, right?
Yeah, A or B.
That's a good A/B decision.
Well, and if they're not paying you enough now, and you say I got to keep the job, then keep burner A on. Start
Yep.
cooking on burner B, or burner C and
I
D
like
and
this.
E if you need to, and then figure it out. But don't keep A going, simmering. But figure out what your options are. You always have options.
I like gas grills too. Gas inside cooking. Now, each one of you's had a situation, and I know everybody watching probably has at least one. So come on in and let's discuss yours and let's iron that out and get you on that right path.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you next time we do a series, folks. This has been a fun series. Thank you.
Yes, thank you
Janet,
so
thanks
much.
for coming.
This has
And
been so much
Jackie, as
fun.
always, thank you.
Thank you,
We'll
Coach.
see you sometime, folks. Give me a call. Let's get these books in your hand. Let's get knowledge in your hand. And let's, more importantly, let's get your life in your hand.
How much of your Social Security income could potentially be taxed? If you know the answer to that, you could be the recipient of one of Coach Pete's free books. Isn't that right, Coach?
Yeah, we've got 2 books we're going to give away. You get your choice. You either get the big book on retirement, which is over 300 pages, one of the newest books I've written, and the absolute newest book I've written is Tax Savvy Retirement, over 200 pages to put you in control of the tax man before, during, and after retirement. Very good book as well. So you'll get your choice if you answer this question correctly.
All right, so this is the question. How much of your Social Security income can potentially be taxed? And here are your options. A, 25%, B, 50%, C, 85%, or D, the full 100%. Text or call your answers in to the numbers that you see on the screen and win your copy of one of Coach Pete's latest best-selling books. Welcome back into our series on the big book on retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here alongside the author himself, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Thank you for joining us once again in our series, Know the Fundamentals.
Yeah.
It's huge, Coach. Know the fundamentals. Everybody seems to have their opinion on financial planning today. You can go to 17 different websites and they're going to have their little section on this or that with their opinion editorials. I don't know if half the time they're actually written by an advisor. But let's talk fundamentals.
Yeah, very important. I mean, if you watch any sporting event, you can tell the teams that the coaches spent a lot of time making sure that the players understood the simple tools and techniques, and then added to that.
That's good.
If you try to jump in like up here and you didn't learn down here, you're going to quickly fall back down. So building blocks, fundamentals, especially in retirement. What are some of the retirement fundamentals? Making sure you minimize your risk, minimize expenses, maximize what you're saving, maximize your income, have that autopilot where you never have to worry about outliving your money, and you've got at least that amount coming every single month for the rest of your life. It'll never be less, could be more. Knowing if you pass away, your spouse is going to be taken care of. Knowing when you and your spouse both pass away, your kids or grandkids are going to be taken care of. So there's a lot of different check boxes we go through. Nothing you really have to worry about. You can read about it in the book, or you can get your own plan done. With us at no cost. But
Well, and that's kind of the whole point of all this, isn't it? You know, we talk about financial planning. You can get into the weeds and know all of these terms and what's going on here, there. But at the end of the day, most people just want to walk on the beach, want to swing the golf club, throw the rod out there and try to catch something good, go flounder gigging, you name it. Like most people don't really want to know this, but at a certain point, you got to find someone you connect, trust with, and make that one decision to get the plan. Because like you said in our last episode there, once it's done, it's done.
Yeah, we're more than happy to give you all this behind-the-scenes information, by the way. And you can put it in a file. You might look at it someday, you might not. But we have it all backed up. But we put all the important and pertinent information on a one-page plan for you, showing you in color, different colors, what it really means to you.
Yeah.
What's my lifetime income going to be based on what I have right now? What are my expenses going to be? And of course, the income better be higher than the expenses.
Exactly.
And so if not, we could tweak that. And so that's why it's important to be honest when we talk about what do you like to do in a day, a weekend day. You like to play golf? All right, we need to put a price to that. Then we need to factor inflation in. What's that going to cost in 10 years? Oh, you like a cart? Well, a cart costs more money, right? So, you lose 10 balls every time you play. Well, we need to factor that in. So these are all things that we go through because you don't want to be surprised down the road.
Yes, that's right.
And so fundamentally, we go through everything and make sure that everything's in place.
There you go. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, you got a great quote here from Jack Nicklaus talking golf. Learn the fundamentals of the game and stick to them. Band-Aid remedies never work.
No, duct tape.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, duct tape.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's such a great solution that we have. There's no need to be cutting corners.
There you go. Yeah,
we
I
can
love that.
put you in control of retirement with the money you already have put aside, by the way.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to
come up with money. It's already there. Let's just make sure it's in the right place.
There you go.
That's all we do.
Folks, the time to act is right now. Connect with Coach Pete's fiduciary team with the information that you see there on the screen. Get your questions answered, but even more important than that, let's get that plan. Take that worry, as you like to say so often on your radio show, Coach. Take that worry out of living in retirement.
Yeah.
And folks, we'll see you for Chapter 7 here shortly.
Hey, I'm Coach Pete Deruta, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome back into our series on the Big Book on Retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here once again alongside best-selling author Coach Pete Deruta, having a great conversation with you here as we're walking through this series. And Chapter 7 is all about understanding the end game. And I like this because, when it comes to retirement planning, something that you've talked to me about, Coach, is you want to understand an individual's dreams, aspirations, goals in retirement, and you can sort of work backwards from that based on what they have.
Yeah, and it's a fun process to find out what you really want to have happening in your life, and then we can work backwards, and we can, for most times, tell you that's possible if we do certain things now.
There you go.
We move this money there, and we put that money there, and everything's fine now. And so it's not about just hoping everything's going to be fine. We can give you a seal of approval telling you it's going to be fine. That's a big, big thing right there, because now you have a team behind you telling you everything's going to be fine.
Yes.
Instead of saying, well, maybe, perhaps, likely, could be. I don't like any of these kind of words. We want definite words with definite positive for you.
Exactly. And the end game doesn't just end or apply there. I hate to bring it up, but one of our colleagues here, Bruce, had a friend who poorly took out funds from a 401k and didn't invest them back in and was hit with that huge tax penalty.
You talked about that on the radio show a couple weeks ago. He asked me a question from a friend. And you have 60 days once you take money out of your own IRA to put it in a different IRA, or you get that tax bill. That money becomes taxable. So you got a 60-day clock. Or if you have it electronically done through a planning organization like us, it's done automatically. You don't have to worry about it. So the burden of proof lies on the institutions, not on you when you have an institution help you.
That's good.
That's a big time bomb for folks if they do the wrong thing with money, or your money in IRAs. When you take that money out, you're going to have to pay tax on it, unless it's a Roth IRA, which is tax-free. If you have a Roth and a regular IRA, then people say, well, which account should I start taking money out first when I'm in retirement? My opinion, if you got some money growing tax-free, keep it growing tax-free. Take the money out of the taxable accounts, keep that money growing tax-free over there, because the good thing about a Roth or life insurance, when you pass away, that money goes tax-free to your next of kin.
Yeah, so powerful, so powerful.
It moves on tax-free, doesn't disappear. That's good. And you don't even have to take it out if you don't want to.
No, it's true. Well, and we've just talked about a couple of situations here, but throughout this retirement transition, there are so many of these exit strategies that you need to have in place.
Yes.
Even into retirement, Coach, I think about laddering strategies, bucketing strategies.
Yep.
Technically, these have exit strategies at each point as well that are, you guys are always tailoring these, aren't you? Every now and then just updating, making sure everything's heading in the right direction.
32 years I've been doing this, Thomas. 32 years I've seen about any kind of situation you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I bet.
So that's why it's good to go, like when I go to my doctor, he's been around for a while, and so he's seen, no matter what I say, he's seen it before. He doesn't have to start Googling. You don't want your planner learning with you, in other words.
Oh, man.
And so we've seen the mistakes people have made, and our objective is to make sure you don't make those same mistakes.
There you go.
And, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But a genius learns from other people's mistakes. Well, we'll learn from other people's mistakes to put a plan together for you that makes a lot of sense.
Very powerful. Very powerful.
So get your own plan now. There's no cost or obligation. You got the book. The book is a great tutorial, by the way. But then you can have the teacher, the professor. You can meet with the professors and me, who I've educated all my advisors. They understand every tool and technique in this book.
Yes, absolutely, without a
doubt.
doubt.
Let's get a plan put together and put you in control of retirement where you never have to worry about income again.
There you go. Now's the time, folks. Take action. Call the number you see on your screen. Text us, email us, whatever is easy for you. But the important thing at the end of the day, start the conversation.
Yeah, get started. Get started. Don't be afraid. It's nothing to be scared of, and we'll make it painless as possible.
As painless as possible. And
There'll be no finger pricks.
I'm turning the page, Coach. Coming up next, folks, we are discussing the next section, tactics. Stay tuned.
guys, it's Parker Holland here with Capital Financial, Chief Wealth Strategist. We always like doing case studies on the radio, and now you guys get a visual representation on one. So we're going to use real cases, of course, no personal information, but these are scenarios we put together for clientele that we're looking for that safe, reliable, guaranteed income, but also the legacy. So we call this a spend and leave plan. It means you kind of set up a strategy, live off the icing, don't touch the cake, and we're going to give you multiple scenarios of how these actually work. So for the first case study we had come in was actually a radio listener a couple months back. They were currently age 54 and 55. They were targeting retiring at age 60 for them both. Now, of course, when there's an age discrepancy, there's layover months. That's not an issue for us. We're looking at the year in which they're both turning 60. So we had about roughly $2.5 million in retirement savings. This is a combination of IRAs, 401ks, Roths, after-tax funds. So this is just kind of giving you a big picture lump sum. So we're not going into a lot of the tax planning here. We're focusing solely on the income yield. Now, the benefit of this plan is there is not a risk tolerance we normally assess. Most people say that you have to put your age inside of a retirement calculator, and that's the difference between what's at risk and what's not. So that means that the safety and the risk should be about a 55-45 split. Well, in this scenario, we based on what makes the standard of living work, what makes the income work. And in this scenario, it was an even 1 million of the 2.5. What this did was we always work with A+ or higher companies, but they become the custodian. So instead of having a 401k like Fidelity or Vanguard, we use companies like Nationwide, Athene, North American, A+ rated insurers. So in this scenario, that million, based on this A+ rated company, got a 30% bonus, which pushed the insured value to 1.3 million. That's 300 grand going towards their retirement income, no matter what the market does. Now, when we run worst case scenarios, we're talking about 0% market return, absolute worst case. And then we run age of death, we just always look 30 years out. But the beauty of these plans is the strategies and such we target continue beyond. Now, I mentioned 30 years out, but we're talking about 30 years of income. So what we're targeting is once they're at that age 60 mark, the spreadsheet ran out at 34 years, but these are the numbers we're looking at. That means that the income received, worst case, no matter what the market did, would start at $90,000 a year. So they put in 1 million, they waited 5 years, the 1.3 guarantee would produce $90,000 a year at age 60. That means, yes, they would spend down the account by age 94, but they would still be getting this income as long as one of them's alive. So to kind of recap that, they'd get $90,000 a year, and even if they hit a $0 nest egg, they would still be getting that income. Now, we all know we'd have bigger issues if there was 0% returns for close to 40 years in this example. So let's run actual market performance. Well, the market ranges normally between 7 to 15%. Now, a lot of calculators are going to do a calculation saying, hey, it averages 10% a year. Well, that's kind of the middle ground. And it doesn't do 10% a year compounded annually. It does 10% annualized over a 30-year window. So we're going to have years of 0, and we're going to have years as high as almost 50%, but it normally ranges between 7 to 15. So same scenario, same age of death. The difference is the income would start at $100,000. But the kicker is, over the course of their life through age 94, it goes as high as $250,000. So this income increases and compounds year over year. And all of this is under a spend and leave model. Live off the icing, not touch the cake. That means that that $1 million investment, not the total 2.5, just the million, based on market returns, would grow to over $4.5 million at death. That means they took out close to $4 million themselves and still had 4.5 left, assuming the market did what it's done over the last few investment cycles. So you guys want your own plan, you want your own strategy, give us a call, shoot us an email, go to our website, send us a text, and we'll run the numbers for you.
this big game, every move counts. Plan wisely to win the match. Sidestep the unexpected and charge towards your goal. Navigate through the challenges. Retirement is your end zone, and the touchdown is within reach. A successful retirement is your championship. Let Coach Pete design your customized income game plan today.
All right, we are going to kick this off strong. Inaugural episode of The Wide World of Investing. I'm Thomas Lipscomb alongside Bruce Rosenblum, leading the charge best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Now, Coach, how did you dream this show up, The Wide World of Investing?
Well, this is a wide world of investing, isn't it? You can invest in all sorts of things these days. When I was little, I had a coin collection. I still have it.
Yeah.
That's an investment. A lot of people invest in coins, Bruce.
Indeed.
You know, a lot of people invest in silver and gold.
We started tempting our children. My dad did actually with the 50 state coins, just to kind of start that process.
Collect them all,
Yeah, so it makes sense, doesn't it? All right, you invest. A lot of people I've talked to invest in wines. There's a big market. There's wine auctions at Sotheby's, the big old snobby auction firm, right? And then you can invest in bourbons, like Pappy Van Winkle, these kind of things. They go up in value.
Baseball cards,
what you do is
cards,
you can't open sports cards. I mean, what else? Dominoes, Legos.
It's true.
You name it.
Legos for sure. Yeah.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots. If you have unopened one of those original games, like Hot Wheels,
right?
Yeah.
Classic Hot Wheels.
There's that show on the Public Education Network, some kind of road show. They would go around antique road shows, and they would find different antiques. People invest in antiques. But you go to a lot of people go to estate sales to find things that people don't value right. You know, think about it. Have you ever had anybody pass away in your family?
Yes.
Have you ever had to go and clean the house out that they left behind?
I actually have a story to
no?
go along with that. My great aunt used to own a retail store in a downtown neighborhood here for years and years and years, and she dealt in collectibles.
Yep.
And so when she passed away, her children were able to go into these warehouses, as it were, and imagine lunch boxes from the 1950s or dolls from the 1940s, still in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect condition. They've increased, 100 times in value.
Yeah.
Putting a value on things.
Yeah.
And here it is. When someone passed away, it's up to you. It happened to my wife. Her uncle passed away, and then we had to go clean his house out and then get rid of all the stuff there. Get rid of is an optimum word because we didn't really value everything. Or I didn't really spend much time that her mom and her didn't really value everything properly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I went one day. I said, "This isn't for me." I did get a baseball card out of it. So a baseball
cool.
too. But how do you value things the right way? Because that's when the sharks appear, when they assume you don't really know what it's worth.
That's true.
Right. We're working on a new proprietary program with a different firm now that will enable you to have an app on your phone. You can take a picture of whatever the item is, and it'll tell you what the value is.
Yes,
this will make it a lot easier. But that's a different story and a different show. What I'm talking about here is there's values for a lot of different things. There's different ways to invest. The investing we always have been brought up to know about is stock market.
Of course.
This is probably the number. And then crypto is investing too. You're investing your money. Investments basically mean you take your money and you give it to somebody else for some item. That's investing.
Right. Sure.
So it can either go up or down. The person who is selling it to you is hoping that they've made money too. And they're hoping that when they sell it to you, it's going to go down in value because if it was going to go up, they would have held it. Or maybe they need the money. So one of the things we're going to talk about here, we're going to concentrate on all different investments. We're going to talk about the stock market every now and then. We're going to talk about crypto. We're going to get CEOs on from different companies or people that invest in different areas that we've never heard of and try to educate you as a general public of places that you might not even know that are good for investing.
That's right.
You might be sitting and feeling like you're in poverty right now, but you may be in a house that's loaded with things that are worth a lot of money. But they don't have much value to you because you don't really know what the value is.
Yeah, that's good.
So, right, Bruce? So one of the things that I've done here lately is I've been out trying to say to myself, how can I have the great first show for the Worldwide Investing Show?
Yeah.
And just came across my desk this company named Venue from J.W. Roth. Venue is a company that starts these outdoor amphitheaters, but they're VIP amphitheaters, and they have amazing amenities there. And it's like first class going to concert, because like J.W. has said, J.W. Roth is, most of the concerts you go to now is warm beer, standing in line, being at like a single A ballpark in baseball.
Sure, yeah.
So he said, what if we could VIP that experience? And we're going to end the show today with an interview that I just had in Wall Street. We went for the opening bell this past week,
and watch J.W. Roth ring that opening bell, and the stock symbol VENU has been launched. Let's go to that interview right now, and folks, we'll see you on the next show. Folks, it's Coach Pete here. I'm live on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with Mr. J.W. Roth, who has just launched his public traded company, Venue. JW, welcome in.
Coach, it's good to be here. It's good to be here.
It's a fun day for you.
It's a fun day.
You rang the opening bell today.
We rang the opening bell. We opened the New York Stock Exchange. It's just funny, you know, when you're a kid or you grow up and you always think of the New York Stock Exchange and how you picture it.
Yeah.
Then you get in business and you start to dream about how, you know, where your company's going to ultimately go. But then to actually do it, to stand out there and ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange, it's surreal.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
You look like a pro up there doing it.
Yeah, well, listen, I got him fooled. I got him fooled.
Now, all right, let's take a step back. Tell me how you got started in the business world.
Yep.
Let's do that. Let's do a quick history here.
Yep.
A couple minutes.
Yep.
Because that'll help, I think, folks that are watching. It'll help them understand who you are and why you're doing what you're doing now.
Yep. So, you know, I did not start in the hospitality or entertainment space. I'm the founder at Roth Premium Foods. My background is all agriculture and in building food lines. So Roth is a prepared food manufacturer, I think about the third largest in the United States.
Wow.
We build for almost every grocery store in America, and we do service every grocery store in America every day. Build between 100 and 150 tons of proteins for U.S. consumption every week. So that's what Roth does. Being a music nut, about 6 years ago, I sat down with my family and our partners, and I said, you know what? I've got another one in me. I want to go build another one. My son had been at Roth all the way along, was in a perfect position to just continue what we were doing there. And in fact, I tell people this all the time. He's actually, in a lot of ways, done better than the old man would have done. But it gave me the opportunity to then leave. I took a handful of my key people, and we worked out a transition plan. And over the course of a year or so, transitioned out my CFO and some of our business development folks and that kind of thing. And I started Venue. And the idea was, as a music fan, I've been to venues all over the world. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that they're old. They're dilapidated, especially live music venues outdoor, like amphitheaters.
Yeah.
Most of them are 40, 50, 60 years old. And so they lack a lot of what the fan is demanding. Think about the NFL and Major League Baseball. It's kind of who I copied. I took a page right out of their playbook. I looked at them and said, look at what guys like George Steinbrenner did, or Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. You know, he took old, dilapidated stadiums, worked with municipalities, and built unbelievable experiences and unbelievable ambiance in stadiums now. So now when you go to a football stadium, you're not out there drinking a lukewarm beer, eating a lukewarm or cold hot dog.
Yeah.
You're going out there and you're enjoying club service and all of the things that go on with the stadium. I wanted to do that in music. So I started going around the country, hired Ryan and company to start putting public-private partnerships together. And this last summer, we opened the most premium amphitheater ever built in history. Ford Motor Company put their name on it. It's the Ford Amphitheater in Colorado Springs, Colorado. 92 fire pit suites, beautiful owners clubs. It's an incredible place. Today, on top of that, we have another $1 billion or so of construction going on throughout the U.S. in 5 different markets as we build amphitheaters. We're gonna do in music with those two guys, and I admire both Steinbrenner and Jerry Jones, what they did in football and baseball.
Yeah, amazing business people.
Unbelievable business people.
I've been to the Colorado Springs location, folks. Amazing.
Yeah,
the fire pits. Oh, just an amazing place.
It's incredible.
You don't even think you're at a traditional concert.
You know,
anymore.
Ryan Tedder is interesting. You know, Ryan Tedder, One Republic, he stepped out on stage. He sold out 3 shows for us this last summer. But he stepped on stage and he goes, geez, I feel like I'm in Dubai. You know, all of the fire going on and the fire pits going on, and it's incredible. It creates an unbelievable vibe and an unbelievable ambiance.
Yeah. So, I mean, this idea, though, came like, let's build amphitheaters? Or, I mean, that's what you said.
Here's what I said.
Okay.
I said, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of the venues that I go to, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
But I go to football games and baseball games, and I'm thinking, man, these are nice. I could do this. So when I left Roth Premium Foods, I left for one specific reason, and that is to disrupt the venue space in live music.
disrupting? Because some of the like the Major League and football places,
yeah,
their video screens are better than the TV at home.
No question, no question. And the food is unbelievable. I mean, you have 5-star restaurants now in baseball parks, and so we built the Seafood and Chop House in the Ford Amphitheater in Colorado Springs. It's a 5-star seafood and chop house inside of a music venue.
Now, that's amazing.
Yeah,
instead of hot dogs and a slice of pizza.
That's right. That's exactly right. No more hot dogs and slices of cold pizza.
All right. So now you got the idea. Let's build big amphitheaters and let's let the people to come. But how did you get the financing in place? Because that's a big proposition. You see all the NFL teams and Major League teams. They have to really consider building something new these days.
I mean, it's tens of millions of dollars to build these, and so. Basically, there's three parts to my financing strategy. First is the municipalities have to participate. So 35% or so of all of the financing comes from the municipality. The municipality provides the ground, provides the tax incentives. They're a big piece of the financing. And then I go out and I pre-sell. I build the structure of my amphitheaters like a condominium building, where we own the condominium building, and then we pre-sell condominiums in the form of fire pits. And so about 35% or so of all of the financing for these come from those suite owners and fire pit suite owners. And then the balance comes from our ability to then finance and put small amounts of sale leasebacks on the ground underneath the amphitheater. But these amphitheaters, like in McKinney, it's a $300 million amphitheater to build it's the most seated amphitheater in the history of the world. That we're building there. It opens for the 2026 season. It's beautiful. If you've not seen what we're doing down there, it's incredible. But at the end of the day, you could never make it pencil if it wasn't for really forward-thinking municipalities like the city of McKinney. Mayor George Fuller, he's a forward-thinking mayor. He's a wonderful man. And he, in his way of thinking, he brought the city council along, and next thing you know, they're supporting it. We have great fire pit suite owners down there. We've got a good friend in Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman's a Hall of Fame quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, he is.
He and I partnered on 8 as a sponsor at our venues, and then we're building the Aikman clubs, and so. We've just got really good partnerships, good sponsorships, and so at the end of the day, we have a financing strategy that works and works well, and it works good for our public company shareholders.
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of people, before they invest in the stock, they say, "Well, let me see how much debt this company has."
That's right.
How are you looking on that?
We have very, very little debt. We, over the last 8 quarters or so, 9 quarters, I guess. We've built a balance sheet of about $181 million. We'll cross $200 million and add $1 billion in 2025.
Is that a B?
With a B, in the net tangible assets. And so, at the end of the day, we are focused on our balance sheet, and as a result of public-private partnerships and mark-to-market valuations, we're gonna cross that number this year.
Now, someone who's just finding out about Venue for the first time, and they say, "Gosh, how do we get an amphitheater like this in our area?" What are the steps you've been doing, and where are you going next?
Yeah, so right now we're finishing up amphitheaters as we build down through the Tulsa market and Broken Arrow. We'll be in Oklahoma City market. We're building the Dallas-Fort Worth market and McKinney, which is an unbelievable venue. Getting ready to start our construction down in El Paso. It's interesting. El Paso is such an interesting market. People think of El Paso, but they only think of kind of north of the bridge, right? Listen, south of the bridge is just as big of a market. Latin music has exploded.
There you go.
It has exploded.
Yeah.
And that market has exploded. And so at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, don't count El Paso out as might be the most profitable venue we build in the next 10 years for that exact reason.
When is that on the schedule to come out?
We're booking it, and it will open in 26. So we're about 15 months out.
Well, let me ask you this. If people stop liking music?
The world ends, right?
Yeah.
If people stop liking music, I think the world just ends. It's the only thing I can think of that is unifying, right? At the end of the day, 2025, again, for the 10th year in a row, it's the #1 leisure activity in the world. In the world is live music. So bigger than baseball, bigger than football, bigger than soccer, worldwide, #1 leisure activity, live music. And it's most unifying. Think about this. Where else can a Republican and a Democrat and an independent all sit together and sing in harmony and be harmonized in whatever they're doing? live music, right? Everybody, I don't care what if you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, you know the lyrics to Hotel California.
That's right.
And you sit there and sing it together in unison.
Yeah.
And it's one of the only places that happens. It doesn't happen in baseball parks because there's two different teams and they hate each other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen in baseball, two teams and they hate each other.
Yeah.
Live music is the only place where everybody there is there for one thing, and that's to be unified in whatever band is playing.
It's amazing how you can have an album, listen to it over and over again at home, but then you go see that band live, and it's a totally different experience. It's so much better, isn't it? Live?
No question.
Yeah.
It is. Live music is I tell people this all the time. Live music, and everybody that's watching this they know, it's a vibe. It's a feeling. There is an ambiance about live music you don't get anywhere else. And it's something that you tell stories about. Music, I can play a song, and it takes you back.
Yeah.
You can remember where you were, who you were with, and what you were doing.
Good point.
Because that's what music does. Music creates memories. Live music creates even better memories because you enjoy it with somebody else.
Yeah, and you've got the collective energy of everybody around you. I think
That's right.
resonating. We don't even know the metaphysics on that these days.
You're going to see that happen. Yep.
Well, that's
And it's exciting.
Where'd the name?
You're going to see that happen. Yep.
Well, that's
And it's exciting.
Where'd the name venue come from?
Well, here's what happened. The company started off, I named it Notes Live. And Notes is obviously music notes, right?
Yep.
And Live is what we do. So Notes Live was the name of the company. I started dealing with the New York Stock Exchange, and we started looking at symbols. And Paul Dorfman said, you know, some of the coolest companies in the world, the name of the company is also the symbol. You know what I mean? And so there's some thought that a lot of companies then put into that. So we started thinking about all of the various symbols, and actually venue obviously is it's a 5-letter word that we turned into a 4-letter word. And it's just so descriptive of who we are.
It is.
And then the New York Stock Exchange worked with us to make that our symbol.
Did you get a thesaurus out?
Yeah, exactly.
I do that online
Yeah,
nowadays.
exactly.
I find a different word.
Exactly.
If I can't pronounce one word, I go look it up.
Where the demand of tickets has been higher than it is today, and there's never been time in history where the supply of new artists is higher than it is today. So here you've got a industry with the high demand, high supply. We are the exchange. We are where fans and artists meet, and nobody is doing it better than we are.
Symbol's Venue Live, by the way.
Yep.
Great symbol.
Yep.
Venue
Yep.
Live.
Yep.
Now, somebody who wants to invest in one of the new places you're building, is that possible for someone to have a stake in the next amphitheater?
Absolutely. And we have a great team that does that. Go to our website, venue.live, as Coach said. And when you go there, you can click on investing and you can look at all of the venues that we're building any place in the United States, and it will give you information on that. You can also come to our offices, whether here or in Dallas or wherever, and use virtual reality to actually sit in any of our venues, or buy a ticket and come out to the Ford Amphitheater this summer and catch a great show.
I saw the Steve Miller Band last year. Really good band.
Steve Miller Band was a great show we had this year, but we had just so many great shows. Fun place.
So someone should come and look at it because you can actually invest in one of the VIP fire pit spaces, right?
Yep.
Right, and is that a lifetime ownership when you invest?
It is lifetime ownership. And I tell people this all the time too. At the end of the day, the best way to understand what we do is to experience what we do. And the best way to experience what we do is come sit in my suite at the Ford Amphitheater.
I did.
Yeah, you
Awesome
did.
Place,
Dang
awesome
right
place.
you did. Yeah.
J.W. Roth, folks, and the symbol is venue, and then the website venue.live.
Venue.live. Love to have you as a shareholder.
Always great
Coach,
to see you.
thank you.
Yes. See you later, folks.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Coach Pete D'Arruda, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there.
Hey Excited to dive into this. You have received the book, The Big Book on Retirement. Maybe you've started reading it. Well, we are here. I'm Thomas Lipscomb. We're here with best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda, who wrote this awesome book. And I thought maybe for this first little dive through the book, we could talk about why you wrote it. But folks, just in case you're wondering, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through this book chapter by chapter and getting a little bit of a, let's call it behind the scenes of the writing process, the intentions behind it, all that jazz.
This is book number 18 that I've written. Yes. And you know what happens a lot of times, I know it happens. People have given me books before. Somebody gives you a book, maybe a couple books you have you wanted to read. You haven't read them yet, so you say, I'll read this sometime.
Sure.
It gets put on the bookcase.
Yep.
And then it gets forgotten.
Yep.
So these are really good tools and techniques in this book. We're going to go through every chapter telling you why it's important, but you can really act on these tips and tools to get a better retirement. So that's why we wrote it. I didn't write it just to write a book. I've got plenty of books. I don't need any more books. But we wrote this for a very important purpose, and that's so you could understand how to really plan your own retirement.
It's true, and you've divided it into 5 key sections. You have game theory, tactics, offense, defense, and the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
I love how you made this analogy. You call it the big book on retirement, but you've made this great sports analogy here where you're kind of taking every element and comparing retirement in that way.
Well, there's a big game every year. We can't call it. It's a football championship. If you say the name, you have to pay the NFL.
I like Campbell's tomato soup, Coach.
Super.
It's super.
Yeah. So, but we all watch it.
Yes.
And the commercials charge a lot of money for the commercials.
Oh, yes,
but
they're so good.
It's the same theory, though. It's 2 teams going against each other. Sometimes you can tell one team was more prepared than the other.
No doubt.
We want you to be that team that's prepared to play offense all the way through retirement. In other words, doing what you want to do on your terms. And that's why I wrote the book. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to tell you why each chapter is important, but skim through it. Find some chapters that interest you. If you have any questions or if you want your own plan done, we're always available to do that. That golden ticket you have there, you got with the book, will show you how to get that appointment at no cost and put you in control of retirement. So it's all about having that game plan and mastering it and putting you in control. And that's what we're going to do with the book. We're going to tell you about each chapter, how each chapter can benefit you as well. Coming up.
Pensions and Social Security are guaranteed income streams for retirees. Unfortunately, pensions are a thing of the past, and Social Security may not cover all of your expenses. However, there's another strategy that can help. Dating back to ancient Rome, annuities are a savings vehicle that have helped many people on the road to retirement. In modern times, they provide a conservative savings strategy that might be right for you.
Quite simply, an annuity is a savings account offered from an insurance company. Now, there's some bells and whistles, and there's some things you need to know before you get into an annuity. Annuities are there for you for retirement. That's what annuities were designed for.
There are 3 main types of annuities: variable, fixed, and fixed indexed. They have some important differences, each carving out their potential place in a retirement plan.
First one is a variable annuity, which in my humble opinion is one of the worst financial instruments ever designed. Why? Because first of all, it doesn't provide you with safe money unless you start tacking on riders and this and that, and every time you add something on with a variable annuity, you start basically pushing up the cost. On average, the average variable annuity that I've seen in my lifetime has been with fees of 3.5%.
Variable annuities are tied to an index or a stock market or a mutual fund type account where your money can go up, but it can also go down. So to me, a variable annuity shouldn't even be considered in the annuity world, because to me, annuity means safety and making you have that financial confidence all the way through retirement.
Then there's also your fixed annuity, which is kind of like a CD on steroids, generally 3, 5, 7 years.
5%, 5 years. At the end of 5 years, the term's up. You either take your money and go home with it, or you take your money and renew it again. So that's cool. Then we have a fixed indexed annuity. Now your money is not in the market, but it's tied to an index that is market driven. So the beauty here, since you're not in the market, you never lose money. The market goes down, you get a 0 that year. The market goes up, you share in the gain. Market goes down, you get a 0. You see, it's a lot easier to recover from a down market if you had a 0 and not a negative 30, 40, or 50. And a lot of people have experienced the negative 30, 40, or 50 right before they were going to retire, and they couldn't retire.
So which, if any of these strategies, are right for you? They come with some distinct advantages and disadvantages over other retirement savings vehicles.
Now, the disadvantages, it does not make as much as what the market does. It's a little bit off on the market, where if the market on average is 8 to 10% over the past 100 years, an index annuity is running 5 to 7%. So you do give up a little bit of earnings on that. Actually, I don't look at it as being tied down. I look at it as being protected.
My period of time is a lifetime income, so we use these for retirement. It is in effect a pension account. The minute you retire or decide you want to start taking money, you get a lifetime income you can never outlive, even if your balance goes to zero. You pass away, your spouse continues to get that same income until they pass away. Both of you pass away, whatever balance is in there goes on to the next of kin or wherever you decide to go, churches, charities, wherever you want. In other words, you do not lose your money when you die. The old annuities of the past, the minute you died, the money went into the insurance company's pocket. Common misconception these days that Wall Street likes to push, because if they can get you not to put money in an annuity, they keep it under their management at risk. They make a lot more money in fees, expenses, and commissions, whereas you should have some of your money in a place where there's no fees, no financial termites, we call them, fees, risk, and commissions, and give you that lifetime income that you and your family deserve.
It's important to get the facts straight about all the different planning strategies at your disposal. That's why you should work with an independent fiduciary advisor. Coach Pete and the team at Capital Financial can help you navigate the financial world to get you where you want to be in retirement. Take advantage of the no-cost, no-obligation financial review to understand the ins and outs of your retirement plan. A customized plan based on your wants and needs. Contact us today. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more retirement help.
What do you think is the number one tech aspect that's going to change the way everyone listening does what they do in the next 5 years?
You know, it's been in the news so much, but quite frankly, I don't think people take it as seriously as they should, and that is AI. And AI has, since its introduction into the marketplace, it's just made huge leaps and bounds. But what most people don't realize is it's been in development, in serious development, for 40 years. Billions of people are using it a day. It gets really sophisticated really fast across cultures, and it is going to radically change our landscape in the next 5 years. A lot of jobs that are done today simply aren't going to exist in 5 years.
Yeah, that's so. What makes you happiest about this, and then what makes you saddest, and what scares you the most?
So the happy thing to me is it's called artificial intelligence, and I really wish that they would rename it to assistive intelligence. I use it as an assistant, and it's an assistant that I have to train, I have to correct, I have to review what the assistant gives me. And as long as you interact with this artificial intelligence platform, whichever one you want to talk about, in that capacity, it makes me very happy because it lets me get easily 200 to 300% more done a day than I do without it. Status is that I do believe, even though I'm telling you where it's going to go in 5 years or so, I think it's oversold today. But you're starting to see AI in everything. And AI certainly has its place. It has its place in a lot of devices. You know, some of the things that we might talk about, like lawnmowers, that were introduced at CES this year. You roll the lawnmower out, it gets the weather forecast, and it might say, you know what, I'm going to put off mowing the lawn until 3 o'clock because it's supposed to rain.
That sounds like I used to do, but I just put it off for a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't go back out to do it.
Yeah, right.
and you might say, hey, there's HOA rules that only allow us to mow, between 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning, and we can't do it on Sundays. That's off limits. So it could ask you some questions like that, and it could learn. And then, by the way, if it happens to be mowing your lawn for you and it's geo-fenced, because it will do that, and it finds something peculiar in your yard that you weren't expecting, well, not only will it document it, it'll mow around it, and, if it could do something to to take care of the situation, it will, but otherwise, at least it notifies you there's a problem. Now, for remote homeowners, this is great because after it mows your lawn, it goes back and parks in the recharging station, and it's ready to go again.
Hey, all right, so what is the scariest thing to you about AI going forward?
The scariest thing to me about AI is when it gets into certain applications that it shouldn't be in, and that there's nobody checking it or verifying it. For people that don't recognize that it's not perfect, it gets you in a lot of trouble. In fact, there's been attorneys, because quite frankly, AI today is great for law, but there's been attorneys that have used it in brief, and it's made up information that's just not correct.
Oof.
And it puts it in a brief, and let me tell you, a judge is not very happy when that happens.
What do you think is going to be in the, let's say in 2 years from now, what from CES is going to be almost a household item, do you think?
Smart city technology integrating with smart cars. We're seeing road signs that automatically update based on road conditions, accidents, and things like that. They start to detect backups and they reroute traffic automatically. But now with smart cars, you're getting those messages because it knows your route. In fact, I've got a 2026 model now, and I don't even have to tell it when I'm heading home. It knows, it updates the route if there's any problems, and it gives me my ETA. So now when my wife calls and says, when are you going to be home? I could say, 13 minutes. But we are also going to see traffic lights get smaller or be removed overall. And that's where we're going to start to see technology migrated into vehicles that are predictive as cars enter intersections. They know what cars are coming what direction, and literally they're going to thread those cars together. And so if you happen to think about traffic moving without having to stop, it changes fuel mileage issues, pollution, gets you from your point A to point B more quickly. But I'll tell you what, first time we do that, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to look.
We are going to see driver-based cars go away. And a lot of people don't believe that, but it's the insurance companies that are pushing it. They are 100 times better at driving and having fewer accidents than the best human that they can compare to. Now, you tell me what that does to insurance companies and everything else. It will be here.
But to me, insurance companies then should charge 100 times less, but they won't.
Exactly.
Because I don't know why they're mouthing off, because they make a fortune charging people all sorts of rates. When like if my neighbor has a wreck, I get charged more. That kind of thing.
That's exactly right.
So to me, they better be careful what they wish for. They're going to do that FAFO kind of stuff, and they're going to be out of business when no one's having any wrecks.
In addition to that, what we're going to start to see is shared vehicle services, where when you want to go somewhere, it shows up and takes you there, and then it drops you off and goes and gets somebody else. So you won't have to really wait. But that's not that far down the road either.
It's almost, it sounds cool and it's great for technology in the future and all that, but I kind of like the freedom of doing what I want to do whenever I want to do it. I think we're going to have to overcome that with more of a automated and structured society going forward, it looks like.
Well, the technologists have been, this is one of the issues that technologists and psychologists have been analyzing. But yeah, there are shifts like that are going to occur. But right now, the thinking is it's going to open you up to some things that you've always wanted to do, but you didn't have the time to do.
Yeah, you're right.
And so, like you said, you might want to cruise around and listen to tunes. Well, now maybe you want to cruise around and just look at the sunset driving down the beach or going through the mountains or in the countryside, where you're not driving and you don't have to pay attention to the road. Guess what? Now you could have the bottle of wine open, right? Because there's no more open container restrictions. But they've been printing food, 3D printed food, for a while now. And a lot of critics are saying, you know what? They've gotten to the point that you really can't tell the difference. So now they're starting to print skin, for example. So if you've got a bad burn or something, you need a skin graft, no problem. Blood vessel from your own DNA technology. They are working on right now, and they think they're less than a few years away from heart and kidney. Yeah, that is probably, to me, one of the most exciting things that really has been progressing well and was a big hit CES this year.
Longevity will go up tremendously if you can just print a new heart out instead of getting a pacemaker or anything like that. I mean, just put a new one in. That's yours, and it won't be rejected because your body will think it's the same one. All right, let's talk about the robotics real quick. What are you thinking there?
So we are starting to see humanoid robotics, and the real progress has come out of Japan. Japan has a major healthcare issue with older folks. And one of the things that they found out pretty quickly was the robots did a much better job with the care than the humans did, because the patient can be as grouchy, as insulting, or anything else as they wanted to be, and the robot doesn't have an emotional response, right?
I hear you.
Yeah. But what they found was, in order to get the human to engage with the robot, they had to put a face on the robot. And the more human-like they made the face, the more humans engaged with it. Well, it got to the point, even in its infancy, with faces that sort of looked human, they weren't great, that the healthcare patients wanted the robots instead of the humans. And you've got robots that are lifting 600, 1,000 pounds, moving it around in a warehouse type setting. Move over to the next booth, and they've got an exoskeleton that you could strap on for people that are quadriplegic or paraplegic that does the brain or eye connection to be assistive technology and allow you to move around without a wheelchair or anything like that.
Hollywood is ahead of science, or science is ahead of Hollywood. It's like that kind of thing.
Science follows Hollywood sometimes. But by the way, those things were all available and demonstrated at the ES this year. So
what's the price on something like if you wanted one of those robots to like lift weight, like move stuff for you and work in a warehouse? I guess like 30,000.
Well, it really varies. They start at the low end, about $6,000 to $10,000 for the home assistive robots that do your house cleaning and can do some cooking and things like that. So low end there, but they'll go up to well over $100,000 depending on what you want. And the sex technology at CES has actually become about 20% of the CES floor these days.
They say sex sells, man. I'm telling you. I'd like a Emeril Lagasse chef robot, and he'd like say "bam" and then bring my food to me. Remember, right? Or Chef Ramsay one that's cussing in the kitchen and bringing you good food. Beef Wellington.
Program it any way you want to.
It's just amazing, man. It's also worrisome at the same time because a lot of careers are in jeopardy now when these robots can do such a great job. And all you do is, I guess, how long do you have to plug them in, or how long does like one of these robots go without a charge, and how long does it take to charge them?
Coach Pete, oh man, I'm shaking my head now. No, they decide when they need to be charged based on what they see the workload to be, and they take the break, if you will, and go charge themselves.
Wow, okay.
Do they need to do a fast charge, or can they set down for the night because you're not going to need them for the next 4 to 6 to 12 hours?
So if they charge too fast, does it become a smoking break?
Smoking break.
It's not good. That's a good one. I like that.
Well, man, we're going down all sorts of rabbit holes here with all this stuff. It's amazing. It really is amazing. We're in a amazing time of basically history when you think about it. Gosh, they'll talk about this like they did the Roman ages 3,000 years from now, I think, if we're still around.
I agree. And some of us may be.
I can't imagine trying to think, we talk in here, really, we talk short term, maybe 5 to 10 years. Right. I can't imagine where this is in 25 to 30 years. I really can't. It's progressing faster than the human imagination can really keep up with it.
Back in the day, a robot would just like on Lost in Space, warning, Mr., that kind of thing. But now the robots are more agile than we are. Crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, they've improved that face technology like we were talking about with recognizing emotions, being able to have more facial emotions with the eyes, the mouth, everything. And, they've gotten to the point where if you just do a quick glance and passing, you won't know that it's a robot. They're that good.
But remember, there was a movie probably about 25 or 30 years ago, Michael Keaton. It was Duplicity or something, where he invented like 5 or 6 robots that looked just like him. So basically, he just sat home and he sent them out to work and do all the hard stuff, and he took all the credit, made all the money. And then the robots started getting mad at him, though. They started getting smart on him. You remember that movie?
Ganging up on him, yep.
What if we could just invent a bunch of Coach Pete's and send them out all over the place?
I only have one question.
Yes,
Is the
sir.
world ready for that?
Welcome on in. This is Women and Money. Jackie Selby, I have the beautiful Jana Asplund and Amanda Daughtry. Hey, hey, hey. And of course, the one and the only Coach Pete DeRuda. Hey,
How you
Coach
doing?
Pete.
Good to see you guys.
How are you?
This is going to be fun because we did one of these about 6 or 7 years ago, Women and Money. But times have changed. And that
Boy,
was
haven't they?
pre-COVID. So after COVID, things have really changed. So I thought it'd be a good time to get my all-star cast together.
All right.
And let's have a conversation. If you're a woman watching, this will be good for you. It's good to because I know that life gets in the way a lot of times, and we shift the burden and responsibility to planning for money to the other spouse a lot of times. Not the best thing because we need to know what's going on.
So true.
If you watch this series, and we've got some handouts for you too. If you like it, well, there's numbers on the screen. You can get more information. But if you can watch this series and have a pretty good mastery of what we're talking about, you'll be all set in retirement. Or on the way to or through life, but you'll have a good retirement too.
Sure.
Yep.
And I think this is a fun representation of generational ladies here. We have, maybe, is it okay to say Amanda might be the youngest gal?
No, I'm 40.
Okay. Maybe I messed this up.
No,
Jana's in the middle.
Jana's in the middle.
And then I'm the elder gal here on the
And
set.
I'm not mentioning anything about any ages right here now. I'll keep
I
myself
knew
out of
you would
trouble.
be
Coach Pete
no,
knows how
we're
to
not
stay out of
doing
trouble.
this. But I feel like we're at different stages in our
We are.
lives. Don't you
Yeah.
feel like?
We definitely are. It was so funny when you said we started. I was in the conversation, the original one, 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, I was still in my 30s. So that'll give you a hint. But also, I had a 2-year-old.
Yep.
And so as you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, just personally, how much has changed for me in 6 years? 6 years, I didn't pay as much attention to what you were saying because I was in the throes of it like you are. I was in the trenches. Every day was hard, and I was just trying to get through it because I had 2 little kids and a full-time job. It's still hard. I'm not quite in the trenches. But today, I have probably way different questions than I would have had 6 years ago.
Well, look at this. Between 2018 and 2023, women's wealth has risen 51%. That's from a
love
survey
that.
by McKinsey. So that's, global wealth only rose 43%. So women are out wealthying. Is that a word?
Yeah, out earning.
But unfortunately, we're trusting the wrong people to make the decisions or to be the decision maker. So it's okay to have somebody in the family be the decision maker, but everyone in the family needs to know what's going on.
Yeah, and women are generally the caregiver, let's be honest. And we're also planning for the future for, let's say, my grandparents or my dad, or where are they going to live? Are they going to live with us? And so now we go out of the little kid stage, which I'm in right now because I have a 3-year-old, and then I'm going into my dad's going into a rest home type stage. So it's like, boom, it all just continuously hits you. So how do we stay disciplined in this type of environment to continue to save?
Yeah.
Do you find it interesting when folks come to meet at Capital that it's maybe just the man who kind of takes the lead and the woman fades to the background on the decisions or the explanation?
That happens more than it should. And then later on, sometimes the lady may have questions, but they're overlooked by the man sometimes. And he said, it's okay, we're going to be fine. I want to make sure both spouses are fine before we go forward and I sign off on a plan. Because if it doesn't make sense to one, it shouldn't make sense to either.
Well, it's a lot of information. And
There is.
like Amanda said, we're used to thinking about other things as women. So,
Well, part one is you need to find somebody you can trust and work with. And
That's
so
for sure.
whether it be a man or a woman or a team of people. We have a team here. We have men and women on our team. But and so we don't tell someone you can't meet. If you want to meet with a woman only, we can set you up with a woman only to meet with. I just think it's better to get everyone's perspective. We do a team philosophy here, so you'll meet with one person or a team of people, but then the whole team gets together and works on your plan.
Sure. Team and a plan.
Yeah, because so we do team here, so it's hard for me to understand. Like you said, when the man and woman will come in and the man asks all the questions and basically the woman feels like she's not even allowed to talk. That shouldn't be that way.
Annoying.
Because as a man, you see that.
All the time.
As a man, I know you guys are gonna outlive us.
Yeah.
And my wife is 7 years younger than me, and usually you guys outlive us by 7 years. So my wife has a pretty good deck of cards in her hand.
Well, especially when you're bringing a significant paycheck to the table.
Yes.
It's kind of like, where's my voice? I want to be heard. How are we investing? I want to diversify. I want to put my funds in different places. And the man's like, no, we should do this. So I think that when you have someone like you in place, someone like a Capital Financial Advisory Group, to sit down and say, hey, this is really the smartest thing to do. This is really the smartest thing to do. And then it kind of takes the tension out of all of the planning, I think.
The best plan is one where you have a coach who's laid out the big game plan. So I'm the financial coach, lay out the big game plan, but you're the quarterback. And you have two quarterbacks. You have the male and the female, the husband and wife. And so you guys are the ultimate ones making the plays.
Yeah.
I've helped you design the playbook. It's up to you to run them the right way. And unfortunately, a lot of times, the man takes over and throws the playbook away for the woman, right? So we want to make sure both of you have the same playbook.
I think sometimes it's really uncomfortable to take the first step, though, because you either show up to a situation, whether you're buying a car or a house or coming here, and they immediately look at the husband or the male partner. You know, if the two of us are sitting there and they have the whole conversation with my husband, and that really trips my trigger because I want to say, there are two people contributing to this household income. You either get that, or you're so intimidated, you don't really know you don't want to look dumb. And so you really hesitate to make that first step because I don't want to look dumb. I am a feminist. Do you know what I mean?
Let me tell you from the guy's side why and I see it too. I see the bad side too. I see what happens. I see when the guy just concentrates all on the guy, like the guys are just having chit-chatting about fishing and all that and golf. And they're basically not paying attention to the woman. The other side says that if you are there with your husband, Eric, and I look at you too much, Eric might get mad at me. And so you might start thinking that I'm, trying to kick you under the table. Never considered that. So that's what goes through my head because I don't want the husband thinking I'm hitting on his wife. In other words, so we have to be careful on that too. So as a guy, but I like to get both husband and wife involved, and I make sure to ask questions of both of them. And then when the husband answers, I say, well, how does that make you feel, Jana? And that's something that's overlooked a lot of times. How does it make you feel? And what do you want to feel in retirement? So these are all big questions that we have to factor in when we're putting together the proper plan.
You don't mind if we start a few questions here, Coach?
I love questions.
Okay, good. Does it surprise you that women are surpassing in the wealth area?
I hope not many guys are watching. No, it doesn't surprise me at all. Women are very smart when it comes to money, and matter of fact, make better decisions than men many times. There's my man card.
Right. Better turn it in. But
women are on top of things a lot of times and want to learn, but a lot of times they're sheltered from it and not by their choice. Jana, in your life, I mean, now you're busy. You're both
incredibly
busy.
busy.
Women.
So
like all
busy.
three, you're busy working women. Back in the day, my mom took some time off from work back when she had three boys. I was the first one, but then she had to go right back to work because you have to make money. And so, but she was more worried about bringing my brothers and I up and working than she was about having to manage the household. And my dad had a computer store and he was a college professor. So both of them were busy. And many times you felt like as a kid, we didn't have any money. It is because we didn't have much money. But my mom and dad made it, somehow got all three boys through college and succeeded. But lately, my dad's passed away now, but luckily I've been able to help mom navigate the situation. And I had a book called The Little Green Book of Life. And and it's 100 pages of interactive questions and answers so you can write down where your life insurance is, where your money is, where your passwords are, your obituary. And Dad did fill some of that out, so it made it a whole lot easier. So if you'd like to get a copy of that Little Green Book of Life, it's on Amazon. Just look up Little Green Book of Life on Amazon.
I've given it to everybody in my family.
Yes.
The thing I like about it is, ladies, we are going to inherit a whole bunch of money from our parents.
Yes, we
Are
are.
we?
Yes.
Hopefully.
And you know how Coach Pete was talking about his wife is 7 years younger, right? So maybe you might pass first. We don't know. But anyway, so she's going to get his money. And then she's going to distribute that money to the children. So think about the impact of that.
Generational wealth.
And I have life insurance that's going to give her tax-free money, too, to do stuff with. So tax-free, that means get out of the picture, Uncle Sam. You're not invited to this party.
You have to call Coach Pete for this.
But
This is amazing.
Step into my office.
A lot of people might be changing their mind on how they're going to plan in the long term because of that. They're thinking down the line, like, I might inherit my husband's parents' home, or he might inherit this, or we might. So how does that impact how we plan long term? And I think if women start thinking about that earlier, that's the goal, is to get them to one up them, to raise them up, say, hey, you need to start thinking about this in your 20s and your 30s, and don't depend on other people that aren't doing it to give you advice on it. You got to depend on somebody like Coach.
Yeah, and a final point before we move on to the next segment.
Sure.
Because we're living longer. Men are living longer too, but women, you guys are living a long time.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we have income in retirement that's going to last the rest of our lifetime, not just for the first 10, 15, 20 years, but forever, because you could live to be 120. You could be good to 130, Jana. You never know.
And so, but what if your money ran out at 83? What's happening then? So we set up guaranteed lifetime income plans. I'm a retirement income certified professional. RICP is the designation from the American College. I am trained to make sure people do not run out of money in retirement and have lifetime income that could increase, never decrease all the way through their life. And check this out. When you start getting that income, let's say it's a husband starts getting the income and he passed away, you continue to get that same income all your life too. So it never goes away for both spouses. So if you're curious about that, you see the number on the screen, give us a call. We'll set up a time where we can diagram out where you are today and see where we could be tomorrow for you, where you could have a worry-free tomorrow.
Great. That's the first step to take, and we will be right back with some psychology of money and a little bit more fun here on Women and Money.
Hey everybody, it's Coach Pete with Matt Scuderi. Matt, thanks for coming today, by the way, appearing here. We're going to go over 9 ways to protect your nest egg, which we have them golden eggs because every single portion of your portfolio, to me, should be treated as gold. What do you think, Matt? There's a lot of people making mistakes out there in the financial world, so we're going to do this very informal type seminar here in the form of a webinar. We call it Info Series, just to educate you on 9 things you need to be paying attention to. We've jotted down some notes here to make sure that we stay on track, and we're going to try to do this in 30 minutes or less for you, so it's not going to be a long one. If you have more advanced questions, you see the chat button there. It's always going to be available if you have a question for us. If you'd like to request a meeting, because you're attending this info series, there's no fee or obligation if you'd like to have your questions answered or request a meeting with one of our professionals, either in person or on the phone or on Zoom. It's amazing what we can do these days. Yeah. I used to, back in the 90s, I'd get in my car and go to see people at their kitchen table. And so we're available for that too, by the way. Never had more fun than visiting people at their kitchen table and going over things. And I ate real good too, by the way. And sometimes I'd be there during dinner time. But number one, and these are things we need to identify, taxation. Yes. Protecting your retirement from tax burdens. Matt, you talk to folks every day. Are taxes a worry for folks?
Oh, yeah. It's the number one question just about every single time. Yeah,
especially when we talk about withdrawing money at retirement time, because that's when we figure out the real tax time bombs we have.
Oh, yeah.
Many people, many of you watching right now, probably have a lot of your money in 401ks, 403bs, TSAs or tax sheltered annuities or whatever, like different things out there. And some of them have more tax advantages than others. And then there's something called a Roth IRA. We're going to talk about a Roth later on here in this series. But just knowing what the taxation is going to be on your assets before you start taking it out, that's a good way to have a good plan. Because if you're not aware of the taxation, and how much you're going to lose for taxation, you get to retirement, you lose a lot of money, you don't have enough to pay the bills. Matt, very important to have over and above what we need for the bills, because we want to have fun during retirement, and one of the main reasons we can do that is to minimize taxation.
Absolutely, and I think kind of to your point is we want to make sure that we know exactly what the tax brackets are now.
Yep.
And always, of course, looking to the future so we can plan accordingly.
We call that tax planning. So we look ahead. I mean, no one knows what the rules are going to be in the future, but we know about what they're going to be. Like we know the Roth IRA builds tax-free and comes out tax-free. Very important, by the way.
Yes.
Many of you watching probably have never had the Roth correctly explained to you, because that's why you don't have it. There's a lot of people that say, I wish I would have known about the Roth.
Yes.
Well, the Roth has been around since the turn of the, what I call it the turn of the century now, right before the year 2000. So it hasn't been around that long, but it's been around over almost 25 years now. So why haven't the financial institutions done a better job explaining that to folks?
You know, they just recently started allowing it to be an option in 401ks.
Yeah, very important. So if you have a 401k, make sure you take advantage of your Roth option in there for some of your money. Now, here's why people don't like the Roth.
Yeah.
Put the money in, you don't get a tax write-off.
Right.
When we put money in our 401k, our traditional 401k or 403b or even IRA at the bank, we like to be able to deduct that money from our taxable income that year.
Yes.
But the problem is for what happens when you're not going to be here anymore. So we all want to leave our assets to our children or grandchildren, want to make sure they get left in the right way, want to make sure what we leave to them actually gets to them. Matt, what happens in between when people die sometimes and the money passing on? Some bad things do happen, don't they?
Yes, it can just get tied up, and now that's just causing headaches for your family.
Yeah, or you could get sued.
So, a delivery man could be coming up your stairs at your house, fall down, sues you because you're in a nice house. Maybe not even a nice house. They just sue you because they want to sue you, and they take all your assets. They find out you have some retirement money. They can sometimes get to your retirement money. So you need an umbrella policy. So make sure you talk to your insurance agent who sells you your car insurance and your home insurance, and make sure that you say, how much is an umbrella policy for $1 or $2 or $3 million? What an umbrella policy does, if somebody sues you, the umbrella policy will kick in and protect you. Do not tell anyone if you have an umbrella policy, because they will sue you to that amount. So be very careful on that. But umbrella policy is very important. Utilizing the proper insurance. Also, having proper life insurance in place can give a tax-free asset to your children and grandchildren that you don't have to worry about, that's not going to be lost in the stock market. If, like, let's say we have a market crash a couple years before you pass away, and half your money disappears and then you die.
Right.
Well, if you would have a life insurance policy, it would help make up for those losses in a tax-free manner.
Yeah.
How many questions do you think you get a week about life insurance? Probably not enough.
Not too many, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think it's mainly because most people don't realize the certain tax-free aspects of it.
Oh, man, it's amazing. Now, if we go over $10 million or more in life insurance, we need a special life insurance trust called an ILIT.
Right.
But for most of the folks watching this,
yeah,
$5 million, $6 million, $7 million, very, very affordable. And we're going to tell you later on how the new life insurance policies let you use a death benefit while you're here to pay for your long-term care stay. So stay tuned for that. That's very important.
Yep.
But if you have any questions about life insurance, about tax-free passing of assets, how to make sure you have that proper division of your money and in between taxable and tax-free and tax-deferred assets, and what are those three qualifications? A lot of folks don't understand taxable, tax-deferred, tax-free. We'll go through all three of those for you if you would like to do that in person. Customized to your own portfolio, because it's one thing for us to talk about it here.
Yeah.
It's another thing for people to really see it with their own eyes. So very important to make sure you understand there are people. Here's another thing. I've had people for nursing home protection. They've met with certain people who have advised them to delist all their assets and list them in their children's name instead, or their grandchildren's name. So you say, well, then you can qualify for Medicaid because you don't have any assets anymore. The problem is you have a lot of money. You've retitled it into your children and grandchildren. Now the government knows you do this too, so they have a look back. It said, so if you do it within 5 years, they'll find it. But let's say you do it, and you're not worried about the government finding out or whatever, and you leave your assets to your daughter. And your daughter is getting ready to get married, and then she gets married, and then they get a divorce. She gets she gets all your money, but the spouse, which is the former spouse, takes half your money and leaves. Let's say that your daughter gets in a wreck, rear ends somebody. It's all her fault. She was on her cell phone or whatever. Maybe she'd been drinking or whatever. So big lawsuits happen.
Yeah.
And she gets sued for all the money that you gave her retitled in her name that's really your money. She loses all that money. So there's a lot of drawbacks to retitling assets. Be very careful on that. You've heard probably these stories too, right?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Number 3 now, we're going to move right into nursing home disasters and make sure that we plan ahead for this. Because we're going to have a graphic here, Matt. Let's look at this graphic right here on the screen. The annual cost of nursing homes has gone way up. So look at how far it's gone up. So back in 2014, now this is for a semi-private room, about $75,000 a year. Now, to me, I've worked all my life. Now I have to go to a nursing home. Do I want to be a roommate again? I had a roommate in college. I didn't really like that too much. But look, now we're way over $100,000 for a semi-private room, and that's per year. So what I advise is look at long-term care insurance. Now, I've been licensed to offer long-term care insurance for about 30 years. 30 years. Guess how many long-term care policies I've written in 30 years?
Not enough.
0. Not a single one. You know why? A lot of people say, Coach, I need long-term care. I said, yeah, but let's look at this contract. The contract can go away once you need it. They can raise your rates and kick you out right when you need it. So you pay all these years and they take the money, they take the policy away because you can't afford it anymore. So the only way that I've advised, and I've done a lot of these, I've done one for myself, is to get a special life insurance policy that lets you use a death benefit while you're here. It's called a living benefit rider. They add it on your policy. Many times, folks, it doesn't cost you any more if you have a current policy right now and it doesn't have that on there. You can get the brand new policy without it costing you a penny, because life insurance rates have gone down over the years. So you can get a better policy many times that has the long-term care option, where you can use the money from the long-term care policy to pay for that long-term care. I mean, how good is that? That takes a peace of mind away. And life insurance never goes away. It's one of the only products known to man, to me, that does what it says. If you die, it pays your death benefit to your folks, tax-free.
Tax-free, big thing. If you're living, it gives you some of the death benefit to pay for your long-term care stay tax-free.
And
so it doesn't put you in a tax situation.
If you also end up not needing the long-term care coverage, you still have the ability to reach in and grab more tax-free
it turns
as
into
well.
a life insurance. And you also can live on some of it. If you set it up correctly, you can have a tax-free retirement account. We can show you how to do that too. So there's no better product than a life insurance product. But there's so many different companies, and many of them aren't good. So make sure before you get one of these, you make sure you get the best. These are A+ rated companies. Don't go for these B companies, folks. Our policy here at our company, we never recommend anything below A-. We want to make sure the company's there when you need it the most. This is the best known solution to the long-term care dilemma that I know. All right, so very important to make sure that you understand exactly what's going on in the financial world, and when we have new policies like this life insurance policy, Matt, back in the day, life insurance was a lot more expensive than it is today because we're living longer and they've adjusted the rates downward. So you may be in a policy now that not only does it not have that long-term care protection, but it's costing you more than it should.
Too much.
So let's at least analyze, do a review. I've met with so many people over the years who bring their policies in that didn't really understand what they had. Had one person thought they had a permanent policy, it was a term policy. So if you have a term policy, it'll pay a death benefit within a certain term. It's not a bad thing. It's affordable. It doesn't cost much, but you're only renting the insurance. Because at the end of the period, you have to requalify many times, and you have to pay more premium because you're getting older, and insurance companies know the older you get, closer you are to not being here anymore. So again, get a permanent policy as early as possible. I mean, at your age, Matt, it's probably very, very cheap.
Yes.
I'm 58. It's a little bit more expensive, but you know the best equity you have when we're talking about life insurance is your health. You may not be able to qualify tomorrow if something happens. So that's why we want to get it and put it away and forget about it because it's there for you when you need it the most. You can also borrow against your life insurance policy's cash value down the road, but we don't encourage that unless you really need it. But there are a lot of great strategies out there. Well, you can be your own banker, basically. But make sure you get the right policy, folks. If you have a question about that, or if you'd like to get a quote or see what it could mean for you and your family, to take that worry out of not only living through retirement, but living with the health scares now. You don't worry. If you have to go to a long-term care policy, you can pick a better long-term care facility. You can pick the best place because now you have almost unlimited cash flow when you think about it from some of these policies. So find out about that. Very, very important.
Coach, we've got some questions from listeners. We're going to spring them on you. I hope it's okay.
Oh, question. Okay, good. Awesome. Oh, and by the way, all you have to do to have that question answered is to see that chat button there on the screen. Type your question in. You can put your name if you want, if you don't have to, and we'll answer it for you.
This one's interesting. They say they have a lot of assets but no retirement income. Say they're a little bit worried about that. What could they do?
So a lot of assets. See this a lot, but no income. Because the 401k, the 403b, most of them I've seen don't show you what you could get income-wise from that policy or for that amount you built up, and it sure doesn't show you that it could be guaranteed for the rest of your life. So there are ways to have proper income planning done. You've done a great job building that money up. Let's make sure you don't lose it, number one, from a market catastrophe. But number two, once we get to retirement, Matt, let's make sure we know with certainty what we can take out per year and never run out of money. When I say never, I mean you have 100% certainty of never running out of money. When we do the Wall Street models, there's something called the Monte Carlo simulation. It basically says you've got all this money in the stock market, leave it there, so we can keep making fees on you, basically. Leave it there, and then you can start taking out a certain percent, sometimes they say 4% of this money each year, and you've got about a 92% chance of not outliving that money. Now, Matt, what's the zinger in that whole phrase? 92%. It has to be 100%, folks, or we, as a fiduciary planning firm, we can't recommend it. So that isn't the proper strategy. The proper strategy is to pare some of that money away from the market, put it into we call it a GPI account. You put it in an account that's going to grow. It's going to protect that growth. So when you have growth, it locks into growth. And then whenever you choose, it'll give you a lifetime income you can never outlive from that balance. And some of these numbers, the withdrawal rates are 6, 7% compared to Wall Street model at 4%. And the 6 or 7% is guaranteed never to go away. And here's another thing, for both spouses. You could have an IRA, which is an individual retirement account, and you could have your spouse on there. So if you pass away, the spouse continues to get that income. It's a magical thing, folks. You have to see it to believe it. So make sure, whoever wrote that in, make sure you get your own customized plan. Anybody else who wants here, based on the lump sum that you have, we can show you what kind of lifetime income you could be getting. Hey, does it hurt to see?
No, not at all.
I mean, it's enlightening. A lot of times we've had folks that come in and say, gosh, I could retire tomorrow based on these numbers. They were thinking they had to work longer. So a true income plan. I'm Retirement Income Certified Professional, RICP. That's from the American College. I'm trained to offer lifetime income. I mean, it's 3 intensive. Have you seen the course load? 3 intensive courses, 3 intensive exams. And I was one of the first RICPs when it came out about 10 years ago. And a lot of the professors I've had on my show, my radio show. So it's pretty cool. But it works for you folks. And the magic thing is to put you in control of your retirement. And that's what happens. It gives you a peace of mind now. You're not dependent on the stock market. We leave some money in the stock market. So you've got your income plan over here. You've got your stock account over here. Stock accounts and we recommend taking more risk than ever in a stock account after you have your safe income plan put together. So you could get a lot more money in the market. Even if the market, you lost all the money in the market, still have your lifetime income plan. Folks, it gives you peace of mind, and that's our goal for all our clients, to give them peace of mind to and through retirement. All right, now, inflation.
Oh boy.
Not anyone's friend.
No.
We've seen, this is where you just had it. Maybe your money wasn't keeping up with inflation because we've had a high inflation rate lately. We always aim for at least 3 or 4% return per year to combat the normal inflation, but you have to have accelerated inflation coverage too. We saw 7, 8, 9% inflation.
It's a silent killer.
Yeah. And so then we have something called shrinkflation. That's where they shrink the size of the item you're buying, but they raise the price. The double whammy in the wrong direction. So again, what can we do to combat this? Well, number one, we need to make sure we don't lose any money. Number two, and when I say not losing money, I'm not just talking about the stock market. We're going to talk about this in a minute. I'm talking about financial termites. And that's risk, fees, and commissions you don't need to be paying. You may be in an account where the person who put you in there is making a lot of money every single quarter on you, and you're not making anything, or you're not hardly making anything, or you're not keeping up with inflation. Get with us for a true inflation-protected plan. If you'd like to get an example, again, based on your numbers, which I always recommend, in your income plan, you see the chat box there, just request it. We'll be more than happy to go over that with you. Okay, so inflation, not a fun thing, but we need to talk about it. We need to address it. Kind of boring topic for a while, but it's not too boring anymore when we talk about going to the store. You know, I rile people up sometimes, say, well, you know, you remember going to the grocery store 5 years ago? What did it cost you? Because we usually get the same things when we go to the store. We might add a couple junk food things we don't get every time. But you always get the milk, the bread, those kind of things. The vegetables, avocados, they've doubled in price the last 5 years. I love avocado. I eat avocados like apples. So it's we see it. You see it. Everyone sees it. So what do we do about it? We can all complain about it. Or we could put a plan together that helps us be in that top 10% of people who understand it, and also their plans will counteract inflation. So very important, Matt. Another thing is litigation. This is our 5th point here. Litigation means, we talked about this briefly. We can do everything perfectly in life, and somebody can still sue us. We don't want to be sued. Or a divorce. It's litigation. You build a plan for both you and your spouse, and everything will be fine once you get to retirement, but then you decide not to be together anymore. So now you need 2 houses. You need 2 loaves of bread every week. You know, it's 2 different refrigerators, right? So 2 different places. So we need to make sure we have a plan that could still help us if something like that happens. Lawsuit protection. People get sued. So you need that umbrella policy we talked to before. Certain trusts. If you meet with attorneys, we have attorneys we recommend. They can put together a plan. I like to say nothing's 100% bulletproof, though.
Right.
If something goes wrong, but it gives you a lot more protection if you have the proper legal documents. Another thing is beneficiary designations.
Yes.
So let's say that maybe you fall out of favor with one of your children and you leave them as a beneficiary, or maybe they get married to somebody you don't like or whatever, and you leave them beneficiary, and you pass away, and your children get the money, and the other spouse that's leaving the family, they take half with them. So there's a lot of stuff we need to set things up correctly. You could do this in special trusts or beneficiary designations.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone the other day. They had their 3 kids on there, and he was like, that one hasn't talked to me in 20 years. So I was just like, we got to get that fixed.
So review your designations, your beneficiary designations each and every year. I know it seems tedious, but sometimes we forget. We've heard stories before where someone did get a divorce and they never adjusted their beneficiary designations, and then they got remarried and they still had the old spouse as a beneficiary on your life insurance. And it's hard, very hard, to get that reversed if you're passed away.
Yes.
So your ex-spouse could benefit. So another thing is TOD and POD on your accounts. Transfer on death, TOD, is for brokerage accounts. That's sort of a beneficiary designation. POD, payable on death, your bank accounts, your CDs. This will bypass probate, and that'll save you some time and heartache in the future if you do that. Yeah. And so that leads into our sixth point here is probate. And so those TOD and POD, very, very important to make sure that, probate's a process. It means when you pass away. Now, if you pass away, if your spouse passed away and you're still here, there's no probate process. Everything that's in your name is yours. If you're jointly listed, you control that jointly. So.
Hey, Coach, here's an RMD question. Someone says they have to start taking their RMDs, the required minimum distributions, right now, and they've got several different accounts. He's wondering which one should they pull from first, and how does he know?
The most important thing is we need to look at where these monies are categorized. Yeah. So if some of these IRAs are Roth IRAs, it is not even included in that equation for the minimum required distributions, and you don't have to take money out of it. But you could down the road if you want, tax-free. But if it's a regular IRA account, if one is outperforming the other one, or maybe you don't like one of them, you can take all the money needed for all the IRAs out of one account if you want.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have an advisor who understands, and we have a battle plan put together, because if you try to do it yourself, you might forget. Maybe you're only taking the required minimum distributions out of one of your accounts and you forget about two others. You know what the penalty is if you fail to take it? 50% of what you're supposed to take. 50% penalty by... I really blame advisors for this many times, because they need to have an open conversation and dialogue with you every single year about where your IRAs are, and make sure you have paid those minimum required distributions by December 31st.
Yes.
You seen anything that you want to add to that, Matt? It's it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I would be curious to know why she has 3 separate IRAs.
Yeah, a lot of times we recommend that you roll all these IRAs together in one super IRA and then have an income plan attached to that. So now you not only have that money in a safe place, but now you have lifetime income you can never outlive. And then we can show you how to take the money out for the MRDs. A lot of people tell me they don't even need the money, but they're made to take the money out. So we've had strategies before where we turn the tables on the government. They make you take money out of your IRAs because you have to pay tax on it, then take that money and buy a life insurance policy that'll give a big number tax-free to your next of kin, and give you that long-term care protection too. So now you're utilizing that money for something besides just blowing it on something. I got money, let me go blow it somewhere. But I always encourage you to have fun with some of your retirement money, because that's why you put the money away. Right? And I had a client once tell me he started flying first class right before retirement. I said, "You moving on up like George Jefferson." He said, "Coach, if I don't spend it, my daughter will." So, enjoy your life. That's what we're here. Stock market. Mitigating market risks in your retirement portfolio. Now, it's fun to be in the market when we're putting new money in and we're working at a company and we've got plenty of money coming in and we can take the ups and downs of the market. But when we retire, we don't need these ups and downs anymore, because we may be dependent on that money in the market for lifetime income. You don't want your income to go from this kind of amount one year down to this amount the next year. But if the market's fluctuating like that, using the market rules, the Monte Carlo simulation, taking 4% out, you could get less money out each year. So that's why we need a lifetime income plan with some of our money, right? That's how you help yourself mitigate the risk of the market. What's a good strategy, Matt, do you think, to protect folks if they have maybe 5 or 6 years to put money away to protect themselves from the fluctuation of the market? Is that a long enough time period to keep all their money at risk if they're like 5 years away from retirement? I don't think so. But
no, I would say, I'd probably say 10 years is probably a good sweet spot to start transitioning some over, for sure.
I would ask myself, how comfortable are you in your current risk allocation if the market went the wrong way? It's fun when it goes up. But we call this standard deviation. Based on the risk you're taking right now, what kind of growth could you get with that risk? But more importantly, what kind of loss could you have if the market went the wrong way? And so let's say if you have $1 million portfolio and the market goes up 40%. Well, now you have $1.4 million on the good side, but let's say it went down 40%. Now you have $600,000. Are you willing to lose $400,000 of your $1 million retirement just by having your money in the wrong place? You've already got to the finish line. You're right there. You're getting ready to win, and instead you turn around and run the other way. Seen this in football sometimes. The guy scoops up a fumble and he runs the wrong way. We can't have that happen with money we can't afford to lose. So that's just very important. So if you want to have your own lifetime income plan put together, make sure you understand all the little things that go on behind the scenes, and make sure to put you and your family in control and give you that freedom you deserve. Just hit that chat button over there and ask us a question or request a consultation with the team, and it's non-threatening. We'll just ask you what you want to do in retirement, ask you what you have put aside, where it is, and then we'll design a plan that meets what you said you want instead of what the broker wanted to sell you. It's a novel concept these days. All right, so that's the stock market part right there.
Coach, we're getting a lot of questions from listeners. This is an interesting one.
Okay.
If I'm no longer employed, he asks, can I roll over a 403B plan into an IRA or a Roth conversion?
Why, yes, you can.
Yes.
And there's special rules with the Roth. You want to make sure you deal with a professional who knows the rules, so you don't want to do the wrong thing, especially the government punishes you with that. But it really makes sense many times because you've used that 403B, which, by the way, 1992, my first year in the financial world, and from 92 all the way to 2000, I worked with teachers exclusively, helping them start their 403B programs, which was sort of like a 401k, able to build it with a tax-free dollar. And I had a lot of teachers retire early because of that. They put money away tax-free. And so then I said, well, I got to learn about this retirement thing. So then I specialized in retirement since the year 2000. But it just makes sense now to consolidate into a place that gives you lifetime income and or a Roth. You can do a Roth and have lifetime income too. The beauty of that is that income is now tax-free.
Right.
Matt, tax-free is a great phrase in retirement.
It's awesome, and it makes our job a lot easier as well.
It does. All right, now, this is the one that I'm ashamed of in this industry here. The financial industry and arena has so many we call them brokers behaving badly. Unscrupulous folks, doing the wrong thing, doing what's great for them and not for you and your family. So we want to identify conflicts in the broker world out there. You know, we call them financial termites. Have they loaded your accounts up with too many risk fees and commissions to benefit them and not you? Let's look at what some brokers do. It's called churning. They have your money. They're going to help you manage your money. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they're making a lot of trades every year, Matt. They've got their fees. The commissions come out. Every time they make a trade, they not only get a trading fee, sometimes they put you in high commission products.
Yes.
And so you see the blue graph here is, when's the last time you had a professional review your portfolio? Not a salesperson, but a professional, a true professional, and not somebody who's not licensed in the financial world. Oh, yeah, my brother-in-law, who's a mechanic, said my portfolio is great. All right, well, what's his or her qualifications, right? So we need to make sure we get a quality plan. I write about that in my book, The Big Book on Retirement. You see it right next to me over here. We've got a camera angle right there, Big Book on Retirement. There's a lot of specialized planning that needs to be done, but it doesn't have to be complex. A lot of time, and we don't need big words in the financial world. I see a lot of big words, sort of like the back of a Red Bull. You ever drank a Red Bull beverage?
Yeah.
These words of all the ingredients in there, some are like 20 letters long. We don't need that. Keep it simple. Do what's right for me and my family. And everyone's happy in retirement.
Hey, Coach, a question from a listener. He says, my wife and I are disagreeing about our pending retirement and how to estimate future returns from our investments. Now, what approach do you think we should use as far as being reasonably conservative but yet still wanting to max it out?
Hey, Matt, do you think people ever argue about money?
Yeah. All the time.
We'll let you. What do you think with that one? That's a pretty good question.
If you want to be conservative, I would go on the low end.
Yep.
Maybe 5-6%.
Yep.
But I think the better way to look at it is maybe see how much you need to mark your standard of living and kind of back engineer from there, because you may already be there.
Yeah, and they may, I didn't hear the word income in here at all, so I don't think they have an income plan. So looking at the balance you have right now, if we can look at what kind of income we could get from certain parts of that balance, we'll show you how much income from the whole balance, and then we'll 50% of balance, 40%, 80%, whatever, and then you choose what kind of income you'd want. And this is lifetime guaranteed income.
Right.
This isn't games and gimmicks. This is in writing, the guaranteed minimum.
Right.
Could always be more, not. What does a fiduciary mean? It means we always have to put your needs above our needs. We cannot take commissions out of your money. Very important. Yeah. There's a lot of people, every quarter you see commissions disappear out of your money. Now, if you're dealing with a money management fee, they have a quarterly management fee. That's a little different. That is not included in the fiduciary law because that is a disclosed fee that's coming out, a management fee they call it. But commissions should not be coming out of your money. Right. We are compensated by financial institutions out of their money, not your money. Very important distinguishing remark right there, because a lot of folks don't understand that, and they're letting someone milk them.
Yeah.
And I always say, whose retirement are you funding, yours or your broker's? So make sure you understand what's going out. And a lot of the fees are not disclosed readily, so we can do that analysis, an x-ray of your portfolio to put you in a better place. And when we get in a better place, when we can see lifetime income, the worry eases away, the confusion's gone. We never want to be confused. You need to always understand. You should be meeting with your advisor at least once a year to understand that roadmap you're on and make sure you're hitting the proper waypoints, we call it. And if not, make adjustments to get you on the right track. We spend a lot of our time, I call myself a financial janitor sometimes. We spend a lot of our time
cleaning up messes created by other financial professionals.
Yeah.
You don't have the proper life insurance policy. Maybe you've never heard of the life insurance that has the long-term care, that'll pay for long-term care out of your death benefit. If you haven't heard about that, you really need to hear about that. When a lot of people don't know you could have guaranteed lifetime income based on the money you already have put aside.
Yeah.
You may not even have to, you could retire, you may be able to retire yesterday because you have enough money, and you may be thinking you have to work 5 more years.
Yeah.
So let's get the money allocated in the right place. Let's get a plan put together to make sense for you and your family. Let's give you that financial freedom you deserve. Matt, we make available now through the chat box. Request an appointment if you'd like to have your own plan put together. We call it a total retirement plan. About 22 steps behind the scenes we do to take all the confusion and worry out of the financial world for you and your family. Matt, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Coach.
Look for more exciting webinars like this from the Retirement Countdown series. We'll see you soon.
Talking about the last time we did a show together, the Visionary Engines, and I checked it out at PeteOnDemand.com. I mean, you've got everything from the future benefits predictor to the 401k power illustrator. It's a lot there.
Yeah, Visionary Engines. In other words, you can hypothetically put different numbers in to see what really could happen. You envision things happening. So it's sort of like the old financial calculators, but these are financial calculators on steroids.
Yeah.
You can go to visionaryengines.com or PeteOnDemand.com to get a look at that yourself. It's no cost or obligation for these calculators and Visionary Engines, and it really does put you in control. It's good to see, Dave. I mean, if you do certain things, what could happen, right?
Hey, I'm Coach Pete D'Arruda, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there.
So, you know, people use the traditional 4% rule, taking money out of a diversified portfolio. What are some of the risks with that?
The 4% says you can take 4% of your balance out each year, supposedly, and be okay. Have about a 92% chance of not outliving the money. But Tommy, if I got on a plane and the pilot said, "Hey, everybody, we're getting ready to go to New York City today. We've got about a 92% chance of landing safely," I'd be that guy. A couple of years ago, the flight attendant freaked out, pulled the chute, and grabbed a six-pack and went down the slide. That would be me. Because I mean, I need 100%. When we're talking about money, there's no excuse not to have 100% safety and security for money we need for a future.
Yeah, especially with the mortality credits of some of these guaranteed lifetime income annuities. They can pay out huge payout rates that you can't get from bonds or
Well, and then you won't run out of the money. And so we've seen 6 and 7% payout rates compared to that 4%, and the 6 and 7 are 100% guaranteed to always be there.
Yeah, and people who are in their 70s and 80s can get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%.
Dead financial fill-up strategies right there.
The older you are, the higher the guaranteed payout.
Exactly.
Welcome into our series, Tax Savvy Retirement. That is the latest book by best-selling author Coach Pete D'Arruda, who's sitting here with me. I'm Thomas Lipscomb. We're going to be going through all chapters of this book that are meant to, we talk about this. You've talked about this in your big book on retirement, Financial Safari, properly setting up all aspects of your retirement plan as you head into retirement. And this is specifically for taxes.
Well, unfortunately, taxes are a big part, positive and negative, of a good retirement plan. So if you have your tax situation under control, it's a positive situation.
Yes.
If tax situation's out of control, it could be a huge negative, and not only for you, but for your next of kin when you pass away. You want to make sure that they're inheriting something that's nice, not a tax time bomb. So we go through that in the book. There's a lot of different tools and techniques here, and just ways to identify the tax situation you're in now, but also how to minimize that going forward, the tax planning, looking ahead to protect your behind for the tax man. And so we broke it down pretty simple in this book. It's over 200 pages.
Yes.
You received it. Now what, right? So you get the book, it's sitting there. We don't want it to end up on a bookshelf gathering dust when it could be used to help you right now.
There you go. Yeah, that's very true.
That's what we wrote it to help you now, later, and forever.
There you go. And it's so great. We cover everything from charitable distributions to basic, I want to bring up this example. One of our co-hosts here, Bruce, had a friend who decided to take his 401k out because he wanted to roll it over to another company, and he didn't do it in the right amount of time and suffered one of the big things we discuss in this book, which is a big old penalty.
Bruce brought that up to us during a radio show. He said, I have a friend.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a friend.
You hope it's a friend, right?
And he told us what happened, but he told us way later than he should have. I mean, his friend should have told us before he did it. We could have given him some free advice here of things not to do. He did exactly what he shouldn't have done, but he didn't know any better.
There you go.
And that happens a lot of times. But you have 60 days when you take money out of an IRA to put it back into a different IRA or put it back into that same IRA. But he took that money home and didn't put it anywhere for like 90 days. And right away, he was young too, by the way, so he owed a 10% penalty on the money. You take money out of an IRA before 59, it's a 10% penalty. You don't get that back. Plus, all that money becomes taxable, and you have to pay tax on that. So he whammied himself. It cost about 40% of that money disappeared in taxes and penalties.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
We have got 245 pages of content to discuss that can help you mitigate things like this, prevent them from happening, start asking the right questions. So folks, stay tuned. But I do want to let you know, maybe you're having a hard time getting through the book. Maybe you're someone like me who drives a whole lot. The audiobook is available at CoachPete.com. Freely available. Just head over and you can download your copy of it. But even more than that, if you already know that taxes are an issue, you know that you need to get a handle on them, and you want to talk to Coach Pete's fiduciary team just to get that aligned with your goals and your plan in retirement. The time to act is now. We're going to make this opportunity available at the end of every video, but call in, set up that discussion with one of his fiduciary planners so that you can be on the right track for this really beautiful time of life.
Let me give you a life hack here. Download the audio at CoachPete.com. Look for the Tax Savvy Retirement audio.
Yeah.
Play it while you're looking through the book.
That's good, yeah.
It really helps you remember things more when you have somebody reading it to you, but you see that we've got a lot of diagrams in the book too, and so it helps you understand a lot better. And you can take notes in the book with a pen. Make notes in the book. This is your book, folks. You don't have to, remember we weren't allowed to write in our books back in the day. You get in trouble with your parents. You can write in this book. It's your book. It should be a reference book, not a book that just sits on the bookshelf. So have fun, and look forward to seeing you every single week with a different chapter summary as we go forward.
Love it.
This big game, every move counts. Plan wisely to win the match. Sidestep the unexpected and charge towards your goal. Navigate through the challenges. Retirement is your end zone, and the touchdown is within reach. A successful retirement is your championship. Let Coach Pete design your customized income game plan today.
Not all cryptocurrency is like a meme coin. There are some functional coins, like we said, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
I want to start with REITs because there may be a lot of people out there who don't even know what a REIT is. So a real estate investment trust.
It's a group of investors get together with a manager who can't buy a skyscraper individually, but they pool investors' money together and buy big things like that, shopping centers. So that's what they use to show you how great it is in these very glossy brochures, and they do dinner seminars too for non-traded REITs. So let's do a non-traded REIT first. A non-traded REIT is it's not listed on the stock exchange yet, so it's not traded. So you put money in, the only way you can get it out, the money out, is if that becomes a tradable REIT. Now, they sell it on income. They say, hey, we're going to get income as long as we have 90 or 95% occupancy of our shopping center, everything's going to be fine, or you're going to get a great return. What's happened the last few years? Do people go into work a lot? How many of them are sitting with maybe 50% occupancy? Now it's not making enough money to even pay the bills. The building, like the non-traded REIT people are on the hook for the big mortgage payment for these big skyscrapers. So then what happens is they are forced into bankruptcy, these non-traded REITs. Now, I want to get to that. Let's put a pause button here. Let me tell you what a traded REIT is. You can look up traded REITs on the internet, and these are basically symbols that you see in the stock market. You can buy it today and sell it tomorrow afternoon, or you can buy it at 10 and sell it at 10:05. Some pay a dividend. I like dividend stocks. That means you're getting paid to take a risk. And yes, it's risky because at any time you buy a stock, it could go down, right?
Yeah.
That's a traded REIT. Now, alleging misrepresentation, unsuitability, and breach of fiduciary duty due to the high fee structure and then the loss of principal that happened after that. So these were sold, Thomas, the people that I've talked to that got led down this path, they were sold as a safe investment. There's nothing safe about a non-traded REIT. We're not going to spend the whole show going through this, but if you have a non-traded REIT and you want to have somebody in addition to the broker who sold it to you, tell you about it, give us a call, because the broker who sold it to you is going to tell you all good things, and don't worry, because they're worried about being sued right now. One of the things they're using to sell these a lot of times is they're selling long-term care facility non-traded REITs, and they're trying to say, well, look, everyone's going to the nursing home, but a lot of these, after they get the money, they still don't build the facility. Let's say you had $1.5 million, okay, and they recommended you put $1.2 million in a basket of, let's say, 4 or 5 non-traded REITs. And they sold it to you where you're going to have all the income you ever need from these non-traded REITs because they're going to pay you blank, blank, blank. And you get in there, and a year and a half later, after you've been getting a little bit of payments, the payments stop. And not only did the payments stop, you can't get your principal back. They don't cover this when they're selling it to you. And I've always said, if an investment has to be sold to you, you don't need it. You should want something. Like when we meet with folks, they want lifetime income they can never outlive. They want insured guarantees. That's why we offer those. Let's say that when you put in $1.2 million, so when you get your statements, he puts them in 4 or 5 different REITs. So you have to add the numbers up to your initial statement showing what you put in. And it comes back at $1,050,000. Wait, you put $1,200,000 in. Now your balance shows $1,050,000. You've lost $150,000 just by putting the money in, because guess what? Somebody reached in and took a bunch of commission out. And they should get back onto the insured money methods and not offering these junk products they're selling to people that are unsuspecting. And they get them with a little folksy attitude when they go in, and then they get screwed into the investments like this. So be very careful, folks. There's a lot of games and gimmicks out here, and it's all designed for the broker to make money instead of you. And I always say, whose retirement are you funding? Yours or your broker's? I can 100% confidently say we've helped every single person that I've ever met with in my life, because we put them in lifetime income strategies. I am a retirement income certified professional. If you want a review of your portfolio, the best time to find out if you're in the wrong places right now, give me a call. For the next 10 of you, we'll sit down with you and go through Coach Pete's Power Plan, which talks about insured lifetime income and no games and gimmicks. And we are a fiduciary team because we stand behind everything we do, and we treat you just like we treat our own parents.
All right, you pretty much have a book for everything. So how do we find your books? Where do we find them at? Where can I get a copy of all of them?
Yeah, the beautiful thing is you can go to Amazon and pay for them, or you can go to CoachPete.com, and all our books, or most all my books, are there as a PDF, so you can download them. And then we have a video series that goes along with the books that I feel the important books we have that will go through each chapter and tell you why it's important to read them and what you're going to learn there. Sort of like a cliff note, a video cliff note version, Amanda, on the video series. So once you get the book, we're going to start sending you a new video every week on each chapter, chapter 1, 2, 3, and up to whenever it's done. And then we have a summary of the whole book. So this is a good way. That way the book just doesn't sit on the shelf. It gets put to use. And most of my books are great reference manuals, so you can do it yourself for your own retirement plan, or I can help you guide you the rest of the way.
How do you determine the topics that are going to be included in your financial books? Because you have, financial termites, you've got tax-savvy retirement. How many books do we have?
Well, I've got 20 books now. And so
the big book of retirement.
The big book on retirement, that's the biggest book. No, it's not. The Through the Years book is the biggest book. So we went from 1909 all the way to 2024 and told you relevant facts and the same facts, like inflation, what the stock market was, what a car costs for each year. So it's fun to go back. I used to get these birthday cards and said, you were born in 1966. Here's what a loaf of bread costs. Here's what milk costs. Here's a famous car, the famous actors.
Yeah.
We do the same thing with the Through the Years book.
1985.
Okay.
And we've got cost of living, and I'm looking at 56 cents for bread, milk $2.26 a gallon, gold $327 an ounce.
Wow.
What is it now?
over 5,000.
Oh,
right around there. It's crazy,
gosh.
isn't it?
Mortgage was 12% interest.
Well, yeah, those are the hard. That's a big one there. But houses were a lot lower in price.
That's nuts. I'm looking at this gold number, and I'm wishing I would have invested in that.
Yeah, I wish you could, but you know, it bounces around, and it's good to have a little bit of gold at all times. It's good to have a good portfolio, a proper balance, and have that total retirement plan. The reason I write books is that people ask me questions, and I said, well, a lot of people ask the same question. It's time to write a book.
Okay.
So my big book on retirement shows you how to have lifetime income you can never outlive, and design the right plan for the whole life for you and your spouse. So the next 10 people call, we'll put together for you your very own total retirement plan, and you'll get my book, the big book on retirement, when you come in.